If you've ever thought to yourself, boy, we probably shouldn't have too many things that rely on Amazon Web Services, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Dare I say it, I'll knock on wood preemptively. All things look quiet on the Western Front here with some of these outages. Not seeing anything myself, but boy, oh boy, they lasted all day yesterday. They affected everything, including my FanDuel app, which didn't let me bet on the Lions and Bucks game, which was a disappointment. But that's okay. That's okay. We are back for another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, and today is Tuesday, and we've got a big day ahead of us. It's a T3 Tuesday, so we're going to have Scott Bauer on from T3 here today. We're also going to do some trading. We're going to have Anne-Marie setting up some options trades, and we get Netflix tonight. Big earnings report. We'll take a look at some of that. We'll get prepared for that. I am curious for anyone that has a trade on Netflix or wants to trade Netflix. How are you doing that? Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for October 21st, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. And producer, I had my tab muted, so I probably could have heard you, but I realized when I played the opener, I didn't hear the video. It was because my tab was muted. Man, oh man, that was probably my fault. But anyway, good morning. Good to see everybody. Welcome back. Slow clap, producer. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you all had a wonderful Monday night. Hopefully you enjoyed all of the sporting events. Congrats to all of Canada for having the Blue Jays advance to the World Series. That was actually an exciting game yesterday. And we'll see if Vladi Dottie and company can end up beating the Dodgers. We'll see how that all goes. Congrats, Canada. You made it, and your team is good and exciting. Brian is first here today. Good morning, everybody. Brian says Zach is first, and Zach says hang loose. But I'll tell you, Brian, on my screen here, it actually shows you as being first and Zach as being slightly after. So I'm not sure how that works exactly, but I'm going to keep reading whoever I see first in my feed. That's the official measure of who is first here. So Brian, you win today. Early bird gets the worm. Good morning. Welcome back. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Dan, good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. Sun-kissed Yogi, good morning. D, good morning. Francis and Azrar, good morning. Solitary Soldier, Buffalo by Bicycle, and Bristol 123, good morning. Welcome back. Producer's locked in. Producer, yeah, I'm sorry I screwed that one up here today, but we figured it out. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Big Dave, good morning. Kona, good morning. Brent, good morning. Brent's already done, guys. I'm out here talking about the early bird getting the worm. Brent's already done. Get it done before the market even opens. Way to go, Brent. We'll give you a cash register ring for that just to start. Graph, good morning. James, good morning. Welcome back. Cad Monkey and Big Bees, welcome back. Big Bees, you called your shot like Babe Ruth, and then you put me across your knee and spanked me. I got absolutely smoked in my fantasy matchup by Big Bees. Jahmyr Gibbs is something else. That's what we'll say. Top back in football. Good matchup, though. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning and welcome back. Seahorse Trading, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Day Trader says, break up Amazon into 3 or more companies. You think that might avoid the Amazon Web Services thing? I don't know. We'll see. Maverick, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Durkus and Dan, good morning. Welcome back. Chuck and Workstation, good morning. SA3X, good morning. Cam, good morning. Paulo, good morning. Harvey, good morning. Barry the Goat, good morning. To Infinity and Bind or Beyond Meat, LOL. That's a good joke to start the morning here, Barry. It was squeezing yesterday. Wild stuff on Bind. Hopefully you guys made some money off that. Johnny, good morning. Good to see you again. Gene, good morning. Whis, good morning. Just some guy. Good morning. Sea Lion, good morning. Tori, good morning. Chris, good morning. Nestor, good morning. AC, good morning. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Rooster, it's good to see you again as well. Good morning, everybody. Kendall, good morning. Here we go. Knights Lance, good morning. Have some more people filing in here. Really good stuff. Laura in Florida, hi, hello, and good morning. Angelito, good morning. Cam, good morning. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right. Oh, I got to share my screen. All right, futures near flat here today. S&P futures up 0.03%, Dow futures up 0.04%, and the NASDAQ futures down 0.01%. So all futures basically right around the flat line here going into the morning. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. The markets witnessed a strong rally on Monday, with most sectors in the green, barring consumer staples and utilities. Strong outperformers included materials, industrials, and financials, posting gains of 1.19, 1.18, and 1.17 during the day, respectively. This comes as billions of dollars worth of projects get held up as the federal government shutdown drags into its third week, with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warning that last week has now begun impacting the economy and people's lives. Investors on Tuesday will be closely watching the earnings of several major companies such as Netflix, which reports after hours today, Coke, which has already reported this morning and is trading higher, Philip Morris, which I'm not going to trade, but that reported this morning and is trading higher, and then RTX, which also reported this morning and is trading higher. Among several others, these will set the tone for the rest of the week. The 10-year Treasury bond dipped back below 4%, currently yielding 3.97%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.45%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here. The first one's going to be Netflix, which reports after hours here today. Shares were up 0.27% in the pre-market, with the company expected to release its third quarter earnings after market close on Tuesday. Netflix had a big day yesterday leading up to its earnings. Question is going to be, is it going to have the strength to trade even higher in the event of a beat? Netflix actually has pretty good rankings in our proprietary ranking system, with the highest score being in growth at around 85. GE Aerospace is another stock in focus here today. That's ticker GE. Shares are up 0.43% in the pre-market ahead of the company's third quarter earnings results, which were due here. Those results are actually out now, and GE trading higher here, 308.65 bid after closing at 302 yesterday. So that stock also trading higher here post earnings. Coke is next on the list. That's ticker KO. Shares of the beverage giant Coca-Cola are up 0.1% in the pre-market ahead of the earnings. They're actually trading even higher now, peaking at 71 here in the pre-market on the back of that earnings report. The stock does well on growth, but has low scores in pretty much everything else. It is in an intact short-term uptrend, as well as a long-term one, medium one, not so great. Next one here is going to be Philip Morris. That's ticker PM. They're down 0.04% ahead of its earnings report in the pre-market here. Company ahead of the company's earnings report at 9 a.m. Again, they did beat here. Looks like they did 224 on the EPS. They did 209 versus the 224. Oh my God, I cannot read this to save my life. They did 224 versus the 209 estimate. Good Lord. So Philip Morris here trading higher. Looks like the high print in the pre-market here was 166. RTX is the last stock on our list here. Defense industry heavyweight RTX was up about 0.5% in the pre-market as investors awaited their third quarter results. They ended up reporting and screaming even higher, topping at 173.83 there. They had a 142 EPS versus they had a 1.7 EPS versus the 142 estimate. So they actually beat and moved higher as well. All right, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Ahead of the trading day, leading analysts are highlighting certain noteworthy market and retail investor behaviors, which could shape equities over the next couple of days. Shout out to our group because we were talking about some of these yesterday, some of these potential swings into the fourth quarter here. And what kind of behaviors the retail investor has. We'll see how that pans out here today. Popular investing account on X, the Kobisi letter, noted that retail investors' buying streak has continued unabated, with individual investors being, quote, net buyers of U.S. stocks in 23 of the last 26 weeks, end quote. It notes that last week marked the 7th consecutive weekly purchase, which it says was also the largest in 5 months. All retail has been net buyers of ETFs in 206 of 208 trading days so far in 2025, before concluding saying, quote, retail appetite for risk shows no signs of easing. So again, if you want to go through any of these tweet threads that we have in here, here's the link to the story that contains all of those different threads as well. Does look like not necessarily slowing down here. Analyst Ryan Dietrich, the chief market strategist at the Carson Group, highlighted that the VIX score nearly hit 29 on Friday. That VIX back down to 1854 here today. This indicated higher volatility, uncertainty, and fear, and yet he notes that the S&P 500 was near its all-time highs during the day. Dietrich warns that when such trends were seen previously, such as the late 90s and 2020 and in 2021, the markets witnessed huge melt-ups. Quote, yes, eventually we saw the signal mark the peak, but the first signal in the previous clusters saw very strong future returns, end quote. And again, in that article I just linked, his tweet and thread are in there. Now, for the economic data here, we do have Fed Governor Waller opening remarks at the Federal Reserve Board at 9 a.m. here today. We'll see if that has any impact. Let's go ahead and go back to Pro here and take a look at the SPY chart. We've been doing this every day. Here we go. We'll get another look here. We are trading back into this range that we've kind of been waiting for. Yesterday, we talked about the 20-day being a key level there. Well, we just traded up from the 20-day, and we did take out that 667.34. We're currently sitting at 671.76 here in the pre-market. This is right beneath the 673 or 672.99. Previous all-time high that we've taken. As a reminder here, the actual all-time high, 673.94. So we are basically 2 points from an all-time high here on SPY. If we take a look at the chart inside, this is what it looks like. We opened up the pre-market here. SPY moved a little bit lower, but has pretty much moved right back to balance. So we'll see if it's got the strength to move out of the open here. We'll see if Fed Governor Waller has any remarks that might impact this one way or another. And we'll see if we get any other news that might impact this. Clearly, the earnings reports that were released here this morning, majority of them were good. And while it's not causing the market to really kind of run higher here, it definitely seems like it's prohibiting it from breaking down. But again, we'll see how that all shakes out. So let's talk a little bit more about investors here and what's going on in the market. Investors go all in on stocks, and perhaps that is the sell signal here. Risk appetite is surging among global fund managers, with equity allocations hitting 8-month highs and cash levels dipping dangerously low. Still, optimism is colliding with mounting fears over a private credit blowup and a potential AI stock bubble. The latest Bank of America Global Fund Manager survey for October reveals a sharp uptick in bullish sentiment, reaching its highest point since February. The net equity overweight jumped to 32%, the most since early of 2025, with an average cash level, while the average cash level slipped to 3.8%, below a threshold that triggered a contrarian sell signal. Fund managers aggressively reduced bond holdings, with net 24% underweight. This is the lowest allocation since October of 2022. Meanwhile, exposure to emerging market equities surged over 46% overnight, the highest level since February of 2021. Just give me a sec. Sorry about that. Commodities are back in favor as well with a net 14% overweight rating. This is the strongest position since March of 2023. Investors also swung net overweight U.S. equities for the first time since February, flipping from 14% underweight to 1% overweight in just a month. Cash, bonds, and defensive sectors like consumer staples were broadly sold off, reflecting a full throttle shift towards riskier assets. And this is what we've seen here, in particular in some of the movers in the morning. Investor macro sentiment is also the most optimistic in over a year. Net 69% believe a global recession is unlikely. This is the lowest level of recession concern since February of 2022. And I remember back in February 22, there was an entire cohort that said, no, COVID is the worst thing we've ever seen, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. This is wrong. Recession is coming. Yeah. How did that work out? Growth expectations posted the largest 6-month jump since October of 2020, and a 54% now expect a, quote, soft landing or through a no landing forecast. Excuse me. Oh my God, this has not been a good morning here. And 54% now expect a soft landing, though no landing forecasts also did rise a little bit, this time to 33%. Beneath the bullish outlook, however, anxiety is growing. A record 54% of respondents believe AI stocks are in a bubble. And I know we've kind of talked about that. There seems to be some going back and forth here on whether or not these AI stocks are in a bubble. We look at these stocks every day. I'd be curious to know, do you folks actually think that the AI portion, maybe not just the entire market here, but specifically the AI stocks, do they feel a little bubbly or frothy to you? Let me know. Looks like 54% of people think that's the case. This is a sharp reversal from September when only 41% said so. So it looks like the more we climb here, the more we hear about the circular investing of all of these companies, the higher the respondents believe that this is an AI-led bubble. The AI equity bubble is now viewed as the most significant tail risk by 33% of investors. It's ahead of inflation and Fed policy shocks. And a record net 60% of investors say global equities are overvalued. Meanwhile, 57% of fund managers identify private equity and private credit as the most likely source of a systemic credit event. This is up 26% from last month. That marks the highest conviction on credit risk since 2022. Long gold is now the most crowded trade, according to 43% of investors. That's not surprising, considering it seems like gold trades up every single day, now being viewed as crowded. Lion, what do you think of this? You think it's crowded? I know you've been in for a long time, so you might have a little bit of a different viewpoint here. And if you think that it's crowded, are you willing or looking to trim at any point? I guess would be my follow-up question. Nonetheless, the long gold does seem crowded by 43% of investors, surpassing long Magnificent Seven stocks at 39%. So we can read that here, that gold, at least right now, more popular than some of the Mag 7 stocks. Gold as closely tracked by the Spider Gold shares, or ticker GLD. This is what I use all the time when we talk about gold that's not a specific company. GLD is the ticker that I pull up all the time. It's rallied over 60% year to date and is on track for its strongest performance since 1979. So I guess my real follow-up question here is, where does the gold train end? I know we've been talking over the past couple of months. So there's the $4,000 price target. Well, we hit that. 5,000 has also been thrown out there. I think 6,000 was thrown out there. And then obviously the longer term $10,000 price for gold has also been thrown out there. Where do you folks think the top is here in gold? Where do you think the spot to take gains at minimum on a short-term trade? Where do you think that is? Okay, as U.S. and China trade tensions continue to escalate amid President Trump's threat to add another 100% tariff on imports from the nation starting on November 1st, Chinese President Xi Jinping is facing a rare challenge at home. And we've been talking a lot about this in Happy Hour. Shout out to 13, who's really kind of been digging in with our, let's call it the boots on the ground source that we have over in Asia. In the Happy Hour. They've been talking a lot about this. I've been following along, but China global politics, not my specialty. Been actually learning quite a bit about this and how much this might actually impact our markets. Let me just keep going with the story here. President Xi Jinping is facing a rare challenge at home, and that's according to a popular political scientist, Gordon Chang. Chang said during the Chinese Communist Party's fourth plenum, which is currently underway and is scheduled to run for 4 days that ends on Thursday, quote, everybody is looking at leadership changes, end quote. While speaking on Fox Business Mornings with Maria on Monday. Nice alliteration there, by the way. He called the situation, quote, unprecedented, citing a purge of 9 senior military officers, including Xi's top loyalist, General He Weidong. Quote, he is going to be expelled from the party, end quote, Chang said on the general, adding that amidst the turmoil, Xi himself, quote, could be removed or could emerge stronger. Wild range there. You could either get removed from your position as, prime minister, or you can actually just become stronger. How about that? When asked if the meeting could effectively become a referendum on Xi Jinping's power, Chang agreed, pointing to a widespread frustration across China's political and military ranks. Quote, Xi Jinping, especially after COVID, is being blamed for accelerating a lot of China's ills, end quote. This is something that we've been talking about quite a bit here. Maybe more so in the happy hour as we really kind of dive deep into this. We've been prepared for something like this. We've seen this happen. There hasn't been a lot of reports of that. There's been some courting of this, but definitely seems to be some cracks there. He added that there's unhappiness throughout society in the Communist Party and Chinese military. How about that? This comes amid Trump's tariffs, which Chang said was, quote, certainly not sustainable for China, end quote, because China has never been more trade dependent in its history. Also, some more stuff I don't really hear on the mainstream media. We'll leave it at that. According to Chang, even Xi's survival is in the midst of this crisis may not be a show of strength. Quote, what would be more extraordinary than Xi Jinping being disposed would be him remaining after his record of failure. China's gross domestic product grew just 4.8% during the third quarter, down from 5.2% during the second quarter, which marks the nation's slowest pace of expansion since the third quarter of 2024. This has primarily been attributed to the impact of Trump's tariffs. How about that? However, even though tariffs have impacted electronic manufacturing and a few other industries, the nation's exports as a whole have held strong, with Chinese companies moving their sales to other global markets. Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman contradicted Chang's views last week, saying that, quote, the Chinese appear to know what they're doing, end quote. I'm going to leave it to you whether or not you want to trust or follow Paul Krugman, whatever. That's a guy that is perpetually getting it wrong. Krugman warned that, quote, America is more vulnerable to a rupture than China, end quote, adding that the U.S. economy is dependent on China for critical inputs. Above all those are rare earths, end quote. He also said that China, on the other hand, can just stimulate domestic demand to blunt the impact of lost exports. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out for China and for Paul here. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about Netflix. Let's actually go back to a chart here real quick. We'll take a look at where Netflix is sitting. You can see yesterday we mentioned this thing had a strong day. By the way, Tenzin, if you're out there, let me know. I have a note here that I wanted to mention something to you. So throw something in the chat if you are out there. If not, I'll check a little bit lower. It might be on the other show at the moment. Nonetheless, Netflix, really, really strong day yesterday. Opened around 1200, peaked at about 1247, closed at about 1239. We're actually trading up towards yesterday's intraday high here in the pre-market. Remember, they have earnings tonight after the bell. Speaking of earnings, I actually meant to get to this earlier here. Here's what your earnings calendar is for the day. So big one here is definitely going to be Netflix. It's also worth mentioning that we have Texas Instruments and Capital One reporting today. Of this list, are there any other stocks that you folks are really waiting for earnings here today? You'll have to let me know. Let me know if there are any other stocks from that list that you're interested in. Netflix is the big one here today. We're definitely going to ask Anne Marie about this, but if you want some other earnings trades from that list, today's the day. Let's ask Anne Marie and get them in there. Let me go back to, you know what? Let me go to the daily chart here just to kind of give you an idea of where we're sitting. I know we were talking before when we were waiting for this. We really wanted Netflix to pull back to the 200-day. We got a pullback towards the 200-day, but never really quite got there. Now it actually looks like it's recaptured a lot of these kind of in the sideways move here. Let's see what the options are predicting here for Netflix. Market makers are predicting a $80 move. $80 move here for Netflix, currently sitting at $12.38. I mean, this thing could easily make a run at all-time highs if it does end up trading higher here on the back of that earnings report. Let's dive into what's expected here. Streaming giant Netflix no longer reports subscriber figures with its quarterly result, which could make management commentary on past and future content even more important in reading between the lines of how the company is keeping its current subscribers and trying to add more. The company reports third quarter financial results on Tuesday after the market closes. Here are some of those estimates. Analysts expect Netflix to report third quarter revenue of $11.51 billion. That would be up from $9.82 billion last year's third quarter. The company has beaten analyst estimates for revenue in 8 straight quarters. So pretty good winning streak here. If that turns around, I think that could actually kind of be bad. We'll see how the market behaves here today. But 8 straight quarters in a row of beating those estimates. Analysts expect Netflix to report third quarter earnings per share of $6.97, up from $5.40 in last year's third quarter. The company has beaten analyst estimates for earnings per share in 6 straight quarters and 9 of the past 10 quarters overall. So revenue in 8 straight, EPS in 6 straight, but also 9 of the last 10. Pretty good track record here. I think if they miss, that actually sets up for a pretty good down move. I don't know if that's the case. Honestly, I really don't think. I suspect, gun to my head, I suspect Netflix is going to beat here today and trade higher. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. A strong content lineup that included K-pop demon hunters. Gotta say, I have no familiarity with this, so I'm going to have to lean on the group to tell me if this is any good. A current lineup that included K-pop demon hunters and several live sporting events could help the company match guidance. Bank of America securities analyst Jessica Reif Elric said in a recent investor note. The analyst reiterated a buy rating and a $14.90 price target ahead of the quarterly results. Elric sees subscriber momentum in the quarter coming from ad-supported plans and live events. Elric also highlighted Netflix integration with Amazon in the fourth quarter, which will expand ad buying options. The analyst said that the integration could improve Netflix's ad demand. Now, I think what this means, I obviously use Prime for a number of things that I watch. I also use YouTube on Sundays to watch the Sunday Ticket. And I've noticed that whenever I use those apps, there are ads like the commercial that plays. There's but you just press the OK button on your remote and it immediately takes you to the checkout for that. I wonder if they're going to kind of fold some of this in. And I guess my question for the group here, have any of you folks actually bought a product from an ad that you were given on Prime, Netflix, or otherwise? I see those. I know they're trying to make it easier to buy. I get it. It just hasn't worked for me. I kind of think I might be in the minority there. So I'd be curious if anyone has actually seen a commercial, been like, oh, I need product. Let me buy it real quick, and carried that through. Kenneth says, no way. Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel. Cam says, nope. With you on that. To me, I know that they're kind of forecasting some of this. It's just, I don't have any way to really compare that myself. I'm not moved by these ads, if you will. Netflix's, let's see. Here are some other analyst ratings and price targets. Seaport Global went from neutral to buy in a $13.85 target. Citigroup has a neutral rating, but raised the price target to $12.95 from $12.80. Loop Capital upgraded from hold to buy, and the price target went from $11.50 to $13.50. Netflix's third quarter content slate includes the highly successful K-pop Demon Hunters movie, a second season of Wednesday, several live events, and the third season of Squid Game. which came out only a couple of days left in the quarter. K-Pop Demon Hunters is an animated kids movie. It's the streamer's most popular movie of all time by viewers. Man, and was a surprise smash hit in the quarter. The firm had 325.1 million views and ranked in the top 10 Netflix English language films for 17 weeks. I definitely seem to be the boomer there. I've never even heard of this. Along with high viewership, the movie saw a short theatrical run for a sing-along version. That's been a strong consumer product staple and has songs that topped Billboard's charts, and will likely see some more of the most popular Halloween costumes for kids this year. The film debuted on Netflix on June 20th, which was in the second quarter, but the majority of the film's success will be in the third quarter. It has been some time since a streaming giant has had this much fanfare around it, dating back to the early days of the first season of Squid Game on Netflix. I remember that. Netflix actually was a great trade around that first Squid Game season. While Netflix had a strong lineup content in the third quarter, investors and analysts will want to hear more about the fourth quarter lineup and what the company's expectations are for revenue and subscriber growth. Remember, the big thing for me, Netflix has multiple NFL games coming up in this fourth quarter here. To me, that's the one thing in the history of the company that has moved me to buy the streaming service. It did it last year, and it's going to do it again, full stop. So I think that there's actually going to be some pretty good stuff coming up in this quarter, which is also one of the reasons why I'm interested in it for this particular earnings season. The company has a fifth and final season of Stranger Things coming in the fourth quarter, and will also release 2 NFL games on Christmas Day. These items could be among the most viewed Netflix programs of all of 2025, and both of them come in the fourth quarter. While Netflix doesn't break out subscriber growth figures or estimates, revenue growth in regions and overall, along with the updates of the overall health, could signal higher membership figures. The company highlighted more members, higher pricing, and higher advertising revenue as the season's second quarter revenue and operating margins were higher year over year. A Netflix ad-supported plan is another big area where analysts will be focused, as this is one of the key growth catalysts for the company as subscriber growth matures. Company looks to boost revenue per subscriber. The earnings report from Netflix comes as the streaming giant faces pressure from billionaire Elon Musk and the Pentagon over content deemed woke. Musk calls for his followers to cancel Netflix, but that came well into the fourth quarter. Whether the company's comments on subscriber strength or if it's seeing any high cancellation figures remains to be seen. So I don't have any info or line on that. Personally, I wouldn't trade it based on that catalyst alone, but that's just me. I'm more interested in what kind of forecast they have for those NFL games. Again, last year they went off without a hitch. This was after the Jake Paul fight, which was marred with a whole bunch of streaming problems. They had it all solved for last year. I would imagine the same is going to be true this year. And I suppose I look forward to buying another month of Netflix so I can watch my NFL games. Okay, that does it here for Netflix. As mentioned earlier, it is a T3 Tuesday. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest, Scott Bauer here. Scott, good morning. How you doing here today?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. You know, I loved my Victory Monday yesterday. I could really get used to this whole winning streak thing that the Bears are doing. Let's see if we can get our fifth this weekend when we play the Ravens. I heard Jackson did not make it back to practice yet, so we'll see how that shakes out over the rest of this week.
Yeah, that'll be the story of the week here, and we'll see. You know, they're winning kind of ugly-ish, but they're winning 4 in a row, so it's all good.
I'll tell you what, I go back to last year and it was all ugly and no wins. 10-game losing streak. Every single game was ugly. Folks, join Scott Bauer live on October 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern to show why he believes traders should embrace volatile markets using his time-tested option system that designs to target potentially explosive profits no matter what direction a stock moves. We have a QR code at the top of the screen. We got a link in the chat. Be sure to click it. All right, Scott, the last time that I had you on here, it was right around, I think it was like September 30th. It was right at the end of September, and we talked about the looming government shutdown, which is now reached its 21st day. So as far as the market goes and trades go, where are you at with the government shutdown right now?
It's really irrelevant to the market and to trading right now, quite honestly. I mean, if it goes on much further, especially as we get towards, let's say, Black Friday and the beginning of holiday season, you may start seeing a real impact because I think consumers are a little bit on edge right now. It hasn't really affected them so much, but if this continues on and all of a sudden we're starting to see these headlines of programs being pulled back and really, that starting to hit mainstream here, we could really see an effect to retailers, especially coming into the holiday season. So I may take a look at retail, especially probably after earnings, but before the holiday season, and really digest that because it seems to me just from I'm going to say my just common sense trader sense that retailers are probably going to have to put out big super Black Friday like sales even maybe before Black Friday. Just and if the consumer is still a little rattled, nervous, the government is still shut down. That's going to be a hindrance coming up with the holiday season here.
Okay. Now, just really quickly, staying on that retail line, are there any names that you like? We had actually recently talked about this. I think as recently as yesterday, we talked about a potential Lululemon trade going into the fourth quarter. American Express earnings came out. They said the affluent customer is still spending.
Yep.
Lululemon definitely attracts that customer. That chart's been really, really beaten down. Does look like it kind of formed a base and has positive seasonality going into this fourth quarter. So, are there any other names out there that you're kind of looking for or that you have on watch?
So I actually went short Amex. Full disclosure here. After earnings,
Okay.
we're shorted up here right around the 347, 348 level. I think that some of the lower end, if you will, retailers, a TJX, even a Target, Dollar Tree, those are ones that probably stay somewhat immune to what may happen, in my opinion, coming up with the holidays. Maybe a Costco would be in that realm. And I always like best in class, and Costco is certainly best in class. But when you get to some of these other ones, like I'm going to throw out an RH, Restoration Hardware, or some other stocks, maybe like that in the retail space, even an Ulta. Okay, those are ones I think you have to be concerned about at this point because those are the type of stocks, those are the type of retailers where it's more disposable income, people spending money there, not out of necessity. So that's where I would be a little bit more cautious.
Okay, that's good. And you know what? So I like the Ulta pick there. RH, this is one that I feel like we don't look at this often enough. I'll put that on my back burner too. A really good stuff there. Okay, we talked a little bit about your specialty being volatility. So I
Yes.
thank you for humoring me on some of the retail names that we had recently talked about. But we were especially being volatility. What are you looking for? Are you looking for any volatility arbitrage trades right now? Is there a specific theme or a specific set of names that you're looking at that you like right now?
This is great. Earnings season is always great when you're looking at that. And I think the mistake a lot of people make is if they want to get into a position based around earnings, we see IV, we see implied vol obviously, accelerate, really increase leading up to earnings. So a lot of people, especially if you're newer in the game here, will look at that and say, "Oh man, I'm going to sell this incredibly expensive implied vol and buy something cheaper," which may work out. But what people don't realize is this little thing out there called IV crush,
Mhm.
which we know with 100% certainty is going to happen after an event, after earnings, after whether it's a Fed announcement, whatever it is. And many traders in the retail space, again, especially if maybe you're newer to this, don't understand what IV crush is. And without understanding that, it makes it really difficult to take advantage of any ARB, any discrepancies and implied vol out there. So what I'm doing, all day long. In fact, I'm gonna be doing something live at noon today, but I'm talking with my students all day long how to compare and how to look at that implied volatility and how to anticipate what may happen based on what has happened in the past and how much implied vol may come out after an earnings event. So that's the type of thing we're looking at all the time. And trust me, there are plenty of opportunities out there to arb, to look at where IV should revert back to. One of the things we talk about, not to get too technically into the weeds here, is mean reversion. And I don't want to
Mhm.
scare anybody away, that
Oh, we talk about mean
statistics class.
reversion all the time.
So many traders don't understand that mean reversion, quite frankly, in when it comes in the volatility space. And so I really focus on that. And I've been doing this I've been trading professionally for 35 years, and I'd say ever since probably 1995 or six, when I was trading on the floor at the SIBO, and I was one of the first traders to actually embrace some of the highfalutin tech stocks that came out that people were afraid of trading back then. That's where I found my niche, my specialty to be, was the relationship in implied volatility, whether it's by strike, like a skew, or
Mhm.
whether it's by expiration. And that's where my focus is.
Okay. You got any iron condors ready to go for this by chance?
Well, I'm looking at one for Netflix potentially for
Perfect.
earnings today, and we actually closed one out in Carvana last Friday. And the bottom end of that iron condor was down at the 340 level, so we actually did pretty well. Carvana traded down through there a little bit, but that was a real good one that we had put on about a week and a half ago, and it expired or closed out on Friday. The American Express position that we put on actually is an iron condor. It's a bearish iron condor, so we're short pretty much an at the money call spread here, and then short put spread down at the like 330, 325 level. So iron condors are great, and a lot of people don't understand with the iron condor strategy, when you're selling premium there, that it doesn't necessarily just have to be a neutral type of trade where the short call spread, short put spread are equidistant away. It can be with a bias. It can be a short delta bias or a long delta bias, and we do that a lot as well. We take advantage when volatility is especially pumped up and there's a lot of premium there, but maybe we do have a directional bias. I love putting on iron condors that have a bias to it. So that is something we discuss. And again with Netflix, we don't know. It's probably going to open around 12:45 or so today. At least that's where we're looking right now. But
Yep.
based on where we closed yesterday, the market's pricing in roughly 90-ish dollar move or so, 7.5% move. I would definitely look for an iron condor. Sometimes the premium is there, sometimes it's not. I will tell everybody just kind of my basic rule of going into earnings, and I'll put iron condors on even if it's not earnings, but going into earnings, I'm going to look for pretty much a 1-to-1 reward to risk. Meaning, if I'm selling a $10 wide iron condor, I got to get at least $5. If I'm selling a $5
Mhm.
wide, I got to get at least $2.50. Kind of a rule of thumb there.
Okay, that rule of thumb is actually very, very similar to Anne Marie too, who also really likes iron condors. A quick question here from the group. Hi, Scott. On a level of scalping and day trading, what measure do you take for implied volatility, or is this something that you don't even really do?
Yeah, so I'm, full disclosure, I'm not a day trader. Never
Yeah,
have been, never will be. I'm not looking at, entering now and getting out 3 minutes later, 7 minutes, whatever. That's
sure.
not my game. That's not my specialty. We do have, here at T3 Prosper, we do have a short-term day trading room. That is not me. I've never traded like that. So I would not have a good answer for that. Sorry, guys.
Okay, no problem. Just figured I'd ask there. All right, the other thing that I really wanted to ask you about was quantum. Because you talk about volatility. I
Yeah,
mean, I struggle to think of any other, kind of niche theme that has more volatility than quantum right now.
no
Maybe
doubt.
drones, but I don't think so. We have recently on this program been talking about a Rigetti short just
Yep.
because of the absolute huge move it made. And the way I took a little piece of this, I actually didn't even do a really good job. I missed the meat of the move, although I did make money on it. The way that I was trading this here was with the inverse ETF RGTZ. So I ask you, you can talk about any quantum name you want, whether it's Rigotti, QUBT, IONQ, or whatever. What do you think here about the quantum names? Are you looking to trade these, and how so? Are you going after that?
We do trade them all the time. And for right
Okay.
now, I don't think there's enough data out there to really support a longer term trend in any of these because they've been all the hype, all the rage. So what I've been looking for in these quantum names, and again, you mentioned a bunch of Rigetti and Ionic, and
Yep.
I don't know if you'd even put Oklo into that space. It's not really um, quantum, but I think it kind of fits into that whole genre. Is I've been trading the trends in those. So on big explosive moves up, I have literally been taking shorts. And when I say short, I'm never just outright short the stock
Sure.
or short a call. It's always done completely 100% hedge. So I buy put spreads. And then on pullbacks, I've been buying into it. And until that trend ends, which it will at some point, it could be next week, it could be months from now, I've just been playing the movements back and forth. And if you don't mind pulling up Oklo, I'll be honest with you. Again, full disclosure, we are short Oklo. We are short it with put spreads that we had bought a couple weeks ago. And then since then, those put spreads have really done pretty nicely. And we've been selling lower strike put spreads against it to get a lot of our debit back. But you go to an Ionic, for instance, or a Rigetti, and we look at those. And again, I'm trading it more on, I would say, trader feel than I
Mm-hmm.
am on technical analysis. Which some people look at that and say, "Oh man, you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks." That's no way to trade. And for a brand new beginner, I would say you're right. That's not a way that you can trade. But I have, I've been doing this long enough where I feel I know my reward to risk. I know I'm always covered. I know I feel where those opportunities may be. And so far in many of these stocks, that playing just those moves, even if it doesn't align with technical or fundamental analysis, has worked out really well. And again, that's going to break at some point. It always does, right? There's no trend that stays intact forever. But until it does, I'm going to keep doing it.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you talked about trader feel here because that's actually one of the things that I like to trade on too. And it's hard to describe to others, right? That's just kind of something that you have to build over your career. One of the things that we do here is when we see repeat names, we try to look at how they traded in the past, figuring we can
Exactly.
probably learn something from that and then maybe apply it to the new trade here. Quantum's been giving a great or has been doing great at that, right? It continues to show you that it can make these huge explosive moves. I do have one really quick question. How do you know when to kind of reverse your position? What about the feel tells you, I should take gains on this short and go long or vice versa, whatever it is?
So a couple things from a technical standpoint, which is a little bit hard to do with some of these names. You're looking at big volume areas typically. So I will look like you have on your screen right there. It looks like with Ionic, you can see there's some massive volume areas around around the 41-ish area. It looked
Yep.
like obviously all the way down at $10 or so, but that's
Yep.
not the realm right now. So I will look for big volume areas. And I said earlier I'm not a day trader, so I don't look necessarily at the implied vol on a day-to-day basis, but I will look intraday at that volume. And if there is all of a sudden a spike in volume at a certain level and I've got a position on, that's at least gonna, my lights are gonna start flickering and say, okay, you got to look at this. Maybe there's a change starting to happen here. Um, Again, I hate to say that it's just trader feel because a lot of people are going to say that that's BS. And you know what? I probably agree with them. But again, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm not always right, but I think I have a real good feel for when something's going to happen. And if I'm wrong, I'm always protected. Again, I am never ever selling naked options. I am never extending myself. I'm never buying into extreme volatility. So I'm always going to be hedged off. I am always going to be my risk is always going to be in check. And that's how you minimize your losers and kind of let your winners, run a little bit.
Yeah, it just goes to show you if you have your risk to reward set ahead of the trade, you're going to be
Absolutely.
okay even if you're
It's
going
so
on field.
important.
That's great. Yep, that's great. Folks, join Scott Bauer live on October 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern to show why he believes traders should embrace the volatile markets as we've been talking about right now, using his time-tested option system that designs to target potentially explosive profits no matter what direction the stock moves. Oh, and by the way, you get to define your risk parameters by doing it that way. Scott, is there anything else that you wanted to mention that maybe I didn't touch on here today?
It just in terms of the same sort of trend, and I put this position on yesterday. Again, this is 100% full disclosure, full transparency. We got short gold at the end of the day yesterday.
Okay.
Was it because of anything technical? Was it because of anything fundamental? No, it was not. And we've done this several times over the last month or so, where we've actually taken a short after a massive run up. Now, for the last 9 months, last year or so, we have been a absolute buy the dip, and I still think gold is a buy the dip, and not so much on the sell the rip. Though the sell the rip the last couple times has worked unbelievably. Yesterday, towards the end of the day, we bought a broken wing put butterfly that expires out on October 31st, with 395 being the first long put. You can see what GLD is doing this morning. GLD is trading now down at 388. Luck, probably, right? I'm not too smart to say there's not luck involved. There is one of those trader intuition things, maybe, but the reward to risk on the setup on the trade that we put on was the reason behind it. I wouldn't just close my eyes and say, okay, I'm buying puts here or whatever. It's got to make sense, right? It's absolutely got to make sense. And that is really the crux and the base of what I do with my students, is teach them, okay, you may have a feeling for something like this, but what are you going to do with that? And what is that reward to risk? Is it worth it? And if it's not worth it, throw it away, because you will find something else. There will always be another trade to make.
That's awesome too, because I often have gut feelings, but I'm not sure how I'm going to apply that. It seems like you're hitting on that. As far as this gold goes here, looking at this 5-minute chart, looks like a pretty sweet double top there at 403 and a quarter. And it actually looks like down here, we're testing the intraday lows here from last Friday. Maybe this is a bounce spot. Maybe this is the first support area. We'll see what gold does. Scott, really good stuff here from you today. Let's hope we can beat those Ravens here this weekend. All right.
Let's go, Ryan. I'm with you.
All right. Bear down. Scott Bauer from T3. Folks, be sure to scan that QR code. Scott, be well. We'll talk to you next time.
You as well.
That is Scott Bauer from T3. Really good stuff from the entire group. And Lion, I did not miss it. I was asking you about gold earlier. We finished up our discussion talking about gold there. I asked you what you're doing. You said, I'm keeping my core in gold, but I'm trading options around some of the individual names like AEM and NEM, and you're taking your gains. So this is kind of what I wanted to convey earlier. This is why I was asking you this, Lion, because although I understand you have a long-term view here on gold, we're making some pretty outsized moves here. Probably a good idea to trade around that. That sounds exactly like what you're doing, but you're using some well-defined options in order to do that. So appreciate that and appreciate the discussion there with Scott. All right. Scott's departure leaves room for 13. 13, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing much better now that AWS is working.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you caught my opener today, but my thought was, boy, maybe we shouldn't rely so much on just Amazon Web Services, because what a day yesterday threw everything into a haywire. Good to see you on the other side of it.
Eggs in a basket, I don't know.
That's right.
That's what comes to mind.
That is absolutely right. Okay, well, all things look like they're a go here today. I haven't really, knock on wood, haven't run into any trouble here today, so we should be good. You look and sound great. No trouble joining here today. Why don't we get started with some of these movers right off the bat?
Let's do it.
All right. First one here is going to be Nerve. This is Minerva Neurosciences. And this one, we just finished talking with Scott about trader feel and how important that can be, especially as you kind of develop this feel through the course of your career. This is one where that applies. Nerve is a stock that we have traded before. We've seen this thing make really outsized runs. Here we are up 170%. 170% here today. Minerva Neuroscience, the shares are trading higher after the company announced financing of up to $200 million of its advanced drug for schizophrenia. So some pretty good news there around the financing of the drug. This popped the stock higher. It actually looks here in the pre-market that we're trying to run away from the $7 level. We've done a really good job staying above the VWAP on this impulse move. The volume looks great. So until something changes here, this actually looks like it has some pretty good upside momentum, albeit maybe it is slowing down or topping out right now. Take a look at the short interest on this name. 0.91% of the float shorted. Pretty negligible for some of these kind of low float cheap guys that we end up trading here. Less than 1% of the float shorted, 2.01 days to cover. We take a look here. On average, the stock trades 230,000 shares. Today, it's traded 37.2 million. So whatever short interest we saw in there, I don't think is going to come into play at all here today. As mentioned, it is a low float stock with a 4.29 million share float. So 13, what do you think here on ticker NERV, which we've traded before?
Well, this 200 million in financing is going to be used to advance their roluperidone for schizophrenia, as you had mentioned. This is going to take the drug through phase 3 clinical trials, their NDA, which is new drug application, and also prep for launch if that NDA gets approved. So that's what this money is going to be used for. Now, as far as how we're trading today, we are actually in a gap fill, or we've completed it. That's been the whole pre-market, essentially, is just filling this gap that was created back.
I'll be damned.
In 2024, early 2024. I'm sure you see it there. We're in the process of filling that, and it looks like if you're going to look at the wick, we're filling at about 660. The real body is about 680. We're past that all now, so we have filled the gap. We're in the 7 handle, and the next resistance that we're coming up to, there's a couple of levels, but the big one that I'm looking at is going to be 850 that we're coming up to. The next one that we should be running into is going to be about 8. So we're on our way up there. We're still climbing in the pre-market, but that's going to be the next level. I don't know that we'll see double digits, but if we do, we certainly can explore some of those levels up. Once we get up there, past the 8s, where I have this big 850 level at. There's levels at 1050 and sometimes going up to 13 or beyond that we can look at once we start getting there. But for now, let's see if we can even get to 850, because that's the next big level that I see.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with the 850 level there. I think beyond that, you're probably, as we get closer to 10, you're going to start running into some more resistance there. And I think that might start before you get to the round number 10. So really good stuff there with Nerve. As mentioned, this is a low float. We've traded this before. Here's what it looks like on the 5-minute chart. One more thing to add to your chart here. 538, maybe 550-ish. This thing pulls back. This was the impulse high from the move that we got on Tuesday, October 7th. Maybe that comes into play here today. So, okay, really good stuff there, really good levels, and great pronunciation of it, by the way. I think you nailed that. I think you nailed that one.
One thing I wanted to mention about this is that this funding that they're getting is going to be based on some performative milestones. So that you have, if you go through the filing that was, and this is something that you can do on your own time. You'll find that there is a couple of tranches of warrants that have to meet certain milestones, and it's in the filing that came out at 8 a.m. So you can read through that. But you get the sense that this is going to have to get to certain points or reach certain milestones in order for these warrants to be exercisable. So I think that's going to help the stock out by not immediately tanking, but because they need to reach those milestones in order to get exercised, I don't think you'll see the stock come down as hard.
And this is a good mention here. I know I'm just going to read this for Tranche A just to give you an idea. Tranche A warrants for an aggregate exercise price of $80 million are immediately exercisable and may only be exercised for cash. Tranche A warrants will remain exercisable until 10 days following the date on which Minerva publicly announces that it has achieved on a statistically significant basis the primary endpoint of its phase 3 confirmatory trial of roluperidone. Did I get it right? Okay, in schizophrenia at the 12-week time point. This is great because this actually gives you an idea of exactly when this stuff is going to happen. Really good of you to call this out directly from the press release, which of course is available to you within Benzinga Pro. Okay, and thank you, Lion. I know we'll you know what, when we get through all of these movers here at some point today, let's take a look at PayPal. Let's see how it's trading, because I'm with you 100% on the thesis of that moving sideways and getting ready for a takeoff. I'm with you on that.
We can get through the next 2 or 3 that I have here pretty quick, because I think NERV had the biggest news. I
agree with you. In fact, I think this ATMV didn't have news, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this is a SPAC. This was also moving yesterday. Yep. Didn't see any news. I didn't even look to see what it was merging with, because when I noticed the volume, I was like, that seems pretty low, for a morning mover. So I just kind of wrote it off and said, I'll look at this another time. I think we've looked at this one. It's like the one that's merging with AMC or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's not something I'm looking at right now. It doesn't have the volume. I don't think it's really going to give us much trades.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff there. And also 13, no short interest on this name. So no funny business behind the scenes, pretty much negligible.
Oh, it's a SPAC. There's funny business.
Okay, well, no funny business with the short interest then. Okay, what was the next one that you had here? Was it SunPower?
That's one of the ones. It's SunPower and Beyond Meat.
Okay.
You already know the story about Beyond Meat, so we can look at SunPower.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's start with SunPower. We should look at Beyond Meat, though, because that basically squeezed all day yesterday. SunPower here looks like they reported earnings this morning. They have their conference call midday. This is ripping up above 3 so far. It looks like it's coming back, trying to retake its VWAP. Pretty all right trading action right here. Let me see what the earnings news was here. Post preliminary revenue. Record profit. Okay, so they're posting preliminary revenue of $70 million. They're also PRing that they announced record profit in Q3 of 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the preliminary revenue, I think the only reason why anybody's getting excited about that is because it's year over year. They did have earlier revenue from, according to some of the financial data I have here, that was higher than that, but this is this for the same quarter year over year. This is a new record. The company does need cash, and in there, okay, right there, you've got it.
I was going to say, it literally says we're in the process of raising cash right now.
I wrote that part down. I was like, okay, well, that's going to be a major red flag, because the company does need cash, and I didn't read too far into how they intend to raise it, but I think we might have a good idea of how they intend to accomplish that. And if it's through an offering, well, I think we're going to want to be ready. So this isn't something I'd stick around in. Also, this used to be a company that was publicly traded. It was originally SunPower. I think it was the same name. And it filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11. And then the assets were picked up by Complete Solera, and it was brought to market again via SPAC. So that's why you're seeing a lot of price action kind of hovering around $10 if you look far enough to the left. And this started trading under this new ticker SPWR this year. So this has been kind of through some shit.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. Okay. So I was just explaining exactly what you were asking about. Yes. This used to be a failed company. It was a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It got the assets got picked up by another company. They brought it back to market via SPAC. Here we are.
Okay.
And it's got some significant short interest too. So
I was going to say, we were saying something about funny business. LOL. Here we go. Now the short interest on this one, as you just mentioned, there 19.22% of the float shorted with 8.91 days to cover. So maybe there is some squeeze action here. Also, 100-day average volume just over 1 million shares. Today we've done just shy of 13 million. Float 60 million. Great trend rankings there, but that's about it. We'll see if we get any type of squeeze action here today. And again, I've got a note here that says the conference call is scheduled for this afternoon.
Yes.
So possible around the lunch hour there, we get some news out of that conference call.
Yeah, and maybe this ends up being something better if home sales or home buying picks back up, because this is supposed to be clean energy products for homeowners.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Next here was Beyond Meat. So this thing was just this felt like it was squeezing yesterday. This thing basically traded up all day. First of all, I just want to point out the trend line here, right? Because we had this nice impulse move.
Oh, yeah.
We basically drew this trend line through the pre-market highs. The rest of the chart filled out as the day continued. And this thing, as soon as it recaptured VWAP here, it actually ran to the trend line, retested VWAP, then smoked the trend line and continued to trade higher all day. Did it in the after hours, did it again here in the pre-market. So here's the one thing that I'm going to say off of right off the top here. Don't chase this move. Let me go back. Producer, can you throw that graphic back up there? I'm sorry it took me so long to read it. Producer. It reported yesterday, Beyond Meat shares are trading higher after the company announced it had completed an exchange of nearly $1.15 billion in zero coupon convertible notes due 2027 for a mix of new assets. So, okay, to me, this absolutely feels like a squeeze more so than a move off that. 54% of the float shorted here with 4 days to cover. That days to cover actually came in because of its average volume ticked up bigly. We have the average 100-day volume here at 37 million. It's already traded 179 million here today. Float super thick, 394 million. So what do you think here?
Well, I think Amazon Web Services was having technical issues. This one wasn't, because the technicals were adding up pretty well. And we got that breakout. We're continuing to squeeze here. I don't think that there's anything else going on. I think that's all that's happening here with this today. Is just that we're seeing a short squeeze. The 1.15 billion in zero coupon convertibles. So that means that there's these convertible notes that shareholders are buying, probably for really cheap because there's zero coupon, which means they're not paying interest. They're just going to, they're intended to be held to maturity. So that's what the zero coupons are. They're likely a lot cheaper than what bonds normally would go for. So that's what the situation is with there. This thing is just a short squeeze. Let me see. As far as levels go, I should have probably brought that up while you were talking, but I just had that joke so ready to go. I wanted to say it. Now I did, so that's out of the way. 225 is the next resistance area. It does look like we are curling back up here after hitting the low of 50 cents on Friday. But we do have that 65 day SMA in the way at 237. So if we manage to get up to and through the 225 this morning, I would be looking at that EMA as the next resistance area.
Okay, I also drew a trend line here. I'm not proud of it, but the trend lines have been working, so we'll see. We'll see what we end up getting there. A couple of things here real quick. JL says, do I hear a bird? Yes, you do. I've got a little parakeet who's a 10-year-old parakeet named Cleo, and I move him to a different room so that it's not too loud, because normally he cheers me up by singing in the office here. And I play bird sounds for him. And today he's got a lot of energy and a lot of things to say. So you are actually hearing him from the other room. I try to minimize that. Ari Stock Market also wants to remind us here that Wall Street Bets is on this ticker a lot. So you might get some kind of crazy, odd stuff going on there. Tennis, maybe that's what happened yesterday.
What do you mean? It's already happening.
You know exactly what I mean. Barry the Goat knows what I mean. Beyond Meat is the GME 2.0. They have everything needed to rock it: retail, brand recognition, high short interest, and support from management and creditors. Well, I'll be honest with you. I am rooting for some of this chemically altered meat to fail, but that's just me.
I won't disagree that this is certainly, shaping up to be a big short squeeze, but to GME levels, this thing isn't naked shorted, in my understanding, and it's got a lot fewer days to cover. That was one of the big things about GME, is that this thing was like over 100% of the float was shorted.
Yeah.
Right. That was one of the big selling.
Yeah, the whole naked shorting thing and get the hedge funds, that whole thing.
Yep.
Okay, real quick here. JL says, I love it. Oh, good. I actually had a bunch of kind of, let's call them sourpusses that did not like it. So that's why I moved him. Love hearing the bird. Okay, good. I'm glad that it's not disrupted. I'll say this. So I love animals. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. I'm sorry. I know I love animals, but my experience in owning these 3 parakeets, which were hatched from my mom's parakeet couple, it was a life-changing experience. Birds are incredible creatures. Learned a lot about them from this. Cleo is as sweet as can be. So, okay. Let's keep going here. 13, I know you're excited about this. Rioge Baba is back. Rioge Baba is back. That's right. Ticker RYOJ. It is back. Now, here's the one thing that I want to say. We're going to zoom out a little bit. And I want us to, I know I'm guilty. I want to trade it too. The name is so awesome. I want to trade it too. It starts with a lowercase letter, then followed by. It's awesome. I want to do it too. Remember what this thing did last time. Had a piece of news here. This thing went absolutely buck wild. $2 to $11, pulled back, spent the entire pre-market pulling back, and then it had one of the dirtiest moves that these little movers do. After bleeding back in the pre-market, it spiked on the opening volume or on the opening candle with volume, looking like it was going to go back to VWAP, and then immediately sold that thing down, went lower, then went lower, and stayed there the rest of the day. We went sideways. Fast forward to today, look what happened. Impulse move. All right, impulse move. We don't have any fresh news. The news that we're highlighting here was reported Friday after the close. Popped here this morning, has bled all the way back. We're going sideways here. This is what I'm going to say on this one. Maybe there is a trade here, and that's great if we're able to hit it. Do not be faked out by this one. Do not be faked out by this one. This one, I think, amongst all of the ones that we're going to talk about in our list here, could play the dirtiest tricks. So just be careful. Not saying for sure that's what's going to happen. That's what we saw the last time this thing was on the list. Just know what we're trading for. Again, we just talked to Scott Bauer about feel. This is part of how you can develop your feel for some of this stuff. As mentioned here, reported on Friday after the close, Rioge Baba expands core consulting and health services business internationally through partnerships with Kyomida International Foundation and Guardian Girls International. I have no idea what those institutions are, but there you go. Short interest on this name, 1.35% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.07 million. Today it's traded 7.7 million. Float on this, definitely within our wheelhouse at 2.24 million. 13, you got any thoughts here on crazy name Rioge Baba?
So it's kind of created some levels that we can take a look at over the past 3 or 4 days that might kick in as support. We're down near one of them right now. I think this 475, 480 area probably going to be the last one I look at before this thing really falls like really south. Like I'm talking, this could be it. This 200 EMA is right about that at that area too on the 5-minute chart. So that lines up really well with the levels that I'm seeing. So I think if we lose that, this thing's likely going down to 4, maybe even lower. But if we get the support here, I would then want to see a recapture of 525. If we get support down here around 480, 485, there I was just talking about, I want to see a recapture of 5 and then 525. That would make me feel more confident that we're going to come back up and try to recapture the VWAP next. So that's next couple of things that I would need to see. Not going to take a position in this because this could certainly still go south. But I think that's the case of what we're going to want to watch for if we're going to go lower or if we're going to turn around and go back up. Okay.
All right. Really good stuff there. RYOJ is your ticker. Rioge Baba is the name of the company. We'll see if we get a trade there.
Did you spend a lot of time saying that over the weekend?
What's that?
Did you spend a lot of time saying that over the weekend?
No,
I got it down pretty good.
No, well, here's the thing. We saw this last week near the end of the week. I had the producer actually tipped us off. I don't know if you recall. Producer tipped us off on Thursday and said, boy, I hope this name is going to be on there so you guys have to pronounce it tomorrow. Yep. I took one look at it. I was like, this is infinitely easier than some of the drugs that we try to pronounce here. This was easier than that Rolumnatab or whatever we'd said earlier. And I looked at it and I was like, phonetically, I think this is just how it sounds. Then I looked it up and it was exactly how it sounds phonetically. And Rioche Baba, it's easy. I also love OJ. So for me, this was just kind of natural. Nonetheless,
Yeah, I posted the rye bread and the OJ, and I was like, it's a breakfast. It's a breakfast stop, rye OJ.
Yeah. So it's Empyrean here says, reminds me of a song I can't find. And the only thing I remember is Muslim Baba. It's funny. This actually, when I first looked at this, I was like, oh my God, is it that band Royksop? Remember that? They've had that song in a Geico commercial. I can't sing or whistle or whatever, but in any case, I was also reminded of a musical artist. No connection. I was just going down the rabbit hole. Okay, let me try to get this plane back on course here because I'm flying into a storm right now. There's two more that I wanted to take a look at here on the list. I don't know if you have any of these, but BOF. This is Branch Out Food. This is another one that we've traded before. Branch Out Food shares are trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in Q3 sales results. So, okay, that's actually a pretty good catalyst. Sales are definitely something that we want to hear, especially from these smaller companies. The stock went from 210 yesterday to 330 in the pre-market. It's back down to looks like the first place that it bounced after its impulse move. We'll call it 250-ish. We are beneath the VWAP here. Take a quick look at the short interest on this name. 1.06% of the float shorted with 1.64 days to cover. The average volume here, this thing's a ghost town. 214,000 shares. That's basically nothing. Today we've done just shy of 44 million. Float here, still under 10 million. I've got it at 9.93. Do you have anything on this one? I understand that you probably didn't prepare for this one. I know we've traded this in the past. Just wondering if you have anything here.
One of the things about the PR here is that they say that their current notes payable is cut by 92%. So my understanding, that's a big reduction in their debt. That's good news. I think that's better news than probably the sales figure, which it's great, but I don't think it's absolutely phenomenal. They've been growing their revenue over time. It's been fine. They still aren't profitable, and I think that's where I would be a little bit more concerned. So yeah, great that they've got rid of their debt, but they have almost no cash. So with their low float, we might see a capital raise in the form of dilution, unless there's some other information that I just am not seeing here in the news feed about or in the filing. Not sure if they have another capital raise they've done prior to the this earnings that they are announcing today. But that would be the only concern is if they do some kind of capital raise, because it looks like they're going to need it.
Okay.
Other than that, I have all their levels from the last time we traded this. We're at 268 right now. Yep. I've got levels all the way up through 3 into almost 5, or actually I do have it over 5 and 6. So
yeah, I actually have levels up to 4 here. And you know what else? Let me see if I can connect the dots here on this trend line. That actually might give us a target today. Yeah, go ahead.
280 seems like the next resistance area that to recapture. And now I'm looking at the price ladder. I can see that there's a big seller at 275. So that makes sense. Okay. If we get through him, we'll see if we can get back up to VWAP, which is pretty much exactly at $3 in my broker. But that's what I would want to see next. Move over this 275 to get up to 3. Okay.
Good stuff there, BOF. Now, the last two that I wanted to mention are ones that the group's already familiar with. The first one here is XIII. This is GSIT. I know that you had some of this, right? This had a huge move yesterday. Actually looks like this $18 level still in play here today. We'll see what it ends up doing. It did pull back to near where it closed yesterday, so it's higher here by about 25%. The volume here in the pre-market elevated, but not what we saw in the regular session, so we definitely want to keep in mind what the volume looked like out of the open here. As a reminder, short interest 1.09% here with 1 day to cover. Should be no problem. It's traded 20 million shares, floats 25. Do you have any additional thoughts on GSIT a day later?
Well, do you see the news today?
I actually didn't even click on that. No, excuse me. News here today. So it announced the pricing of a $50 million registered direct offering of common stock and pre-funded warrants. So it's offering 1.5 million shares at $10.
Yes, that's the big thing. At $10. Where was it before that announcement? Not $10. It lifted it up to $10, and then it just kept going. I haven't read the news or anything, but the headline stands out. It's like a blinding standing out light. 50 million direct offering at $10, and when this was already at $5 or $6, but when the news was announced, yeah, that's going to double this thing, and that momentum is going to carry it up higher. Now, I don't think that this should be trading much higher than this, but as long as it keeps providing trades, we can try and capture
this. News was announced at 9 o'clock this morning.
Right.
The stock was $16 this morning.
So this wasn't. I'm sorry. I was under. Okay,
what?
So I thought this. I'm looking at your chart. I thought this was all today. This big move that we had here. I'm sorry. So
no, this yesterday. This was yesterday. This was the big move yesterday.
Okay, then that makes more sense.
Oh man, I thought you made me think that I was stupid, dude.
I need to stop. No, I'm the dumb one because I was looking at your chart and thinking that we were getting all that.
I was like, what did I do wrong? I know I've screwed up a few things here.
So we got that news that pulled it down, and now it's coming back up. So because I thought that so $10 is much lower than here. So we're going lower here. I thought that the whole move we were seeing was a result of today from that offering that was priced at a much higher placement than the stock was at the time. That's my fault. Sorry for.
It's okay. It's okay.
Now, so as far as this goes, getting those shares priced at a price much lower than where we're at, I would say this is going down.
Here's the thing. So let's actually focus on what happened from this So we got the news here about the offering right here, 1768. It yanked it all the way down to $14. So it did cause it to move down multiple points here. The thing, though, is that we're being bought back up. So it's really the next move that we want to pay attention to. As Honest Car Review is saying, it was $18 before the news. Yeah. Indeed. And in fact, it traded into a 14 handle. We're bouncing here. It's currently in a 16 handle. I've got the VWAP at 1687. We're about 30 cents lower than the VWAP right now. We'll see where this ends up going here, but watch for this next move out of the open. To 13's point about this offering. I mean, look, we've seen some of these try to go higher after the offering gets bought up. Let's wait for it to show us that before we bet on that. We'll see where GSIT goes here today. The other one that I really quickly wanted to mention, I know we're running out of time here, is EOSE. This has been one that you folks have been looking at a lot recently. There was a gentleman years ago in this show, I think in 2024, right? Yeah, I think in 2024, we had a guy in this show saying EOSE was a buy in, I think, $1 or a $2 handle. And here we are, it's $17, $17.60 here today. EOSE Energy Enterprises shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Pennsylvania's Allegheny County to support U.S. manufacturing and continued growth of 1,000 high-quality American jobs. Also, the company signed a supply agreement with MNS to deploy Z3 energy storage systems. So a pretty good piece of news here on EOSE. Move this stock from a 15 handle up through 18, although we've backed off that a little bit. We did do this on pretty good volume. Here's what we look like from the recent sessions. I don't think it's any shock that the stock stopped in this supply zone. Looks like that we had from Thursday and Wednesday of October. That would have been last week. So let's see if we can actually break this range out. I do have maybe a little bit of resistance up there at 19. Quick look at the short interest on this name. 86.5% of the float is shorted on EOSE.
Who hates this so much that it's short the entire float almost?
No idea. 3.74 days to cover. This thing could be explosive. On average, it trades almost 18 million shares. Today, it's traded just shy of 6 million. Float's a little bit thicker here, 2Cs with 93 million in the float. You got any thoughts here on EOSE today?
You don't normally see short interest that high. So kind of would be curious as to know why it is that high, but don't want to waste time trying to figure that out. I saw one thing in here that I wanted to bring up. It was an offering. Maybe it's already gone past that. It looks like it was from October 2nd. They filed to sell 7.33 million. I don't know if that ever happened or not. But that's the last thing I see as far as an offering goes. Otherwise, you'd have some really good headline PR here for the company in the state of Pennsylvania. Let me look at the chart here, see where we go. Oops, that's not the correct one. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yep, no problem. Also, while he's doing that, really quick call. Tenzin, are you out there? If you are out there, let me know. Tenzin.
Yeah, so so we lost a pretty important level that we're trying to recapture right now. This looks like we're going to potentially drift lower here, maybe even lose the VWAP in the process. But this level of 1775, we need to recapture this because if you kind of right about there, 1775, just above where the price is. There you go. That was the support area in this pre-market for almost an hour, but just recently, the past 15 minutes, we've lost that level. We're trying to recapture that. So I think that's what's going to have to happen next. If we are going to go higher, we need to get back above 1775. Otherwise, if we cannot do that, we're going to lose VWAP. Where's your VWAP at, by the way?
I have VWAP here 1753.
Okay, mine's at 1748. That's pretty close. So it's pretty much the same. I would just call it pretty much the same. It's gonna, for the purposes of looking at what we're seeing here, and we just we're about to open in the next 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something that happens into the open here. We lose this VWAP and we come down to a support area. Where that support area is might be at 17, but I don't know. Could be even lower, around 1645, 1650.
I have it losing the VWAP as we speak.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So this seems like it is going to continue to leak out the gate here, and down underneath 17, it might find some support. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but that's
okay.
What it's looking right now.
Looks like there's a battle at the VWAP to me.
Yeah.
Also, really quickly here, I was highlighting this. Appreciate you guys in the chat delivering the news. Beyond Meat did take that trend line out. I kind of laughed when I drew it, LOL, but here we go. Beyond Meat announces plans with Walmart to increase availability of its select products at over 2,000 stores nationwide. So if you want more chemical meat, you can go get it at Walmart. That's the PR here. Now, that is driving the stock higher. And interestingly enough, this is actually back testing the trend line. So I do kind of want to see what Beyond Meat does here around 230.
Yeah, that 225, 230, I have the level right there. So I think that you're right. This is going to back test that. And if we get that support at that area you just mentioned, then we're going to blast off beyond 250. At least that's what the technical resolution of this pattern would suggest. Walmart, meanwhile, slightly red. I don't know if it's on that news, but I would certainly hope.
No, I think Walmart just shook this news off. To infinity and beyond meat. We'll see if we get a trade there here today. All right, really quickly here, Cam, really good comment here. AWS came for us yesterday because we didn't have the correct amount of likes. So please listen to the producer here. Get those likes over 100 before the market opens so that Amazon Web Services doesn't take us out. Look at this. Look at Dr. Evil. Man, oh man, producer had that one ready to go, and that's why we have him. We are absolutely here for it. Also, Bharat, since you offered this, I'm going to share it with the group. I always appreciate stuff like this. I learn more from other traders when they tell me bad shit than when they tell me good shit. So Bharat here, last month, I lost big on Oklo. Bharat, you do trade in size here. I lost big on Oklo short and gained all those funds back on the same short and up huge. Lesson learned, never short when the stock market is making all-time highs. Wait for the reversal. Bharat, I feel like we talk about this quite a bit here. It's great to have you sharing a lesson with the rest of the group. Hopefully your expensive lesson, which you clawed back from, by the way, hopefully that expensive lesson can save somebody else. Folks, when we toss around different lessons here, understand that a lot of those lessons are generated from an oopsie moment. Bharat's doing it for you here so you don't have to. I think this is really good advice. Wait for some, especially on the short side, it can be really, really difficult. Wait for the move to confirm. You don't need to top ticket. There's plenty of money to be made. Bharat, I appreciate you sharing this with the group. Okay, we are just 2 minutes ahead of the open here. Here's SPWR SunPower. 13, do you have any charts you want to run down? I can try to go to the washroom real quick before we open here.
Well, wasn't there something that folks wanted to look at before we were talking movers? If you want to pull,
all I saw in the chat today was stuff about Beyond Meat. Not gonna lie, Beyond Meat seems to be the big thing here today.
Hey, folks, what do we want him to pull up real quick? and we'll look at that.
I can wait till the open. It's not the end of the world. I'm just going to redraw the trend line here and Beyond Meat. We'll see what we got. NVTS is the first stock that I saw that was a big mover yesterday. I actually, I know we were having issues, I actually did trade this just to see if I could get in and out because you guys were talking about it. I walked away with plus $15. I might as well have not even traded. The good news is that my broker worked. Nonetheless, here is NVTS. First thing that jumps off my eye, folks, short-term downtrend. Need to change this. Otherwise, a retest of some of these lower levels and maybe a pullback down towards 15 on deck here. That's NVTS.
You got that 200 EMA that we're coming down towards. That's going to be at, actually, we may have just tapped it or got pretty close to. I have that value at 1673. We just hit 1676. So certainly going to be a level of support if we end up touching this here. Going to want to see it hold up. Otherwise, let's see, where will this go if we don't have that hold up?
And real quick, while you're looking for that level, Ethan, welcome. First timer Ethan is here. Where are we getting the pre-market mover scanner? Is it Benzinga Pro? Yes, it is. So just to be clear, I know we're open, but just to be clear, the scanner that we were just looking at is indeed the mover scanner here where we have it arranged by pre-market. Once the market opens like it just did, we actually flip over to a different workspace that utilizes the scanner tool. Good question, Ethan. Hopefully you enjoy yourself and make some money here today. We are live. Market is open. Let's get it going here today. Big pullback right out of the open on EOSC.
And NVTS, I was going to mention that one next. NVTS did trade beneath that 200 EMA. We're still trading beneath it. If we continue lower, 16 looks like the next support area. EOSE. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more of what we're looking for here with that loss of the VWAP. We went down to the 65 EMA. We're currently getting support from it. But, still doesn't look like it will hold up. We may end up coming down into this demand zone that we were going sideways in with pre-market. So that's going to be at about 16.25 all the way down to, looks like 15.25, maybe even underneath $15 itself.
Okay. Nerves pulling back. GSIT here. This is actually trading up towards the VWAP as we speak. Could not get through it there. A little bit of a rejection. GSIT.
BOF, that's reversing off the 65 EMA and that 250 level, trying to recapture some of these EMAs in the process, the 9 and the 15. There's that 279, 280 area that we previously had as support in the pre-market here. We are going to be looking at that next as resistance to break to the upside in order to get to VWAP. So I need to see some more volume in order to get through that level.
Okay.
Right.
And let's see how BYND is faring here. Looks like that did pull back through the trend line. Okay, we'll see where that settles. I've got it at VWAP, I've got VWAP at 214. Looks like the stock is moving towards that level there. GSIT still at VWAP, can't get through it. Nerve flashing like it wants to go too.
I'm not sure about Nerve.
Me either.
This doesn't look like a very good formation here. It looks kind of topping out. If we lose VWAP, I think I would just wait for this to find some support. It might not even be at $6 if it gets down there. It might be further down. So I would wait with Nerve. I don't think this is going to fare too well here in the next 5-10 minutes.
Love it. ATMV, this is halted to the upside right out of the open. And look at that, 13. As soon as I said love it, after you were finished, Nerve just immediately pulled off that high candle. Really, really great call there. Graf said he made some money on Nerve. You know what? You made it before that pullback. Good on you. We'll see if we get another attempt here at Nerve. 13. I'm going to leave the Nerve chart up here. I'm going to be back in just 1 sec.
Sounds good. So the thing about Nerve is that it kind of has this topping out formation like a head and shoulders. And you got the left shoulder that you can see about 820 that created that peak. And you have the high, which is going to mark the head. And then we're currently dealing with the right shoulder right now, which, if we can't get any higher than 740, then likely this is going to come back in and we're going to lose the VWAP. So that's what I'm watching here for now. It just doesn't look great. If this does manage to get the volume that takes it over 765, that would break this pattern and we could look for some more upside. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get that right now. I'm just waiting to see for this VWAP to fall, which could be happening pretty soon. Meanwhile, looks like SPWR is finding some support from its 65 EMA for the time being. It is trying to recapture 210. And then we also have Beyond Meat that dropped beneath that 225 level we were keeping an eye on, and it lost VWAP, went all the way down to this almost to the 65 EMA and reversed. Now this looks like this is trying to squeeze beyond 250. See what I did there? 250 has a large concentration of sellers. The stock is chewing through the sellers that were just at 245, but it's going to need a lot more volume to get to that 250 level. So just watch for expanding volume. If it continues to expand, we could see this move over 250. If we get the move over 250, let's see, where does this go? Sorry, I don't have I don't have a level for you right at the moment. Look at the daily chart and see what I got here. So after 250, looks like we have this supply zone that's up close to $3. So it seems like it's about from 275 to 3, that 25-cent range in there. That's where we were topping out at earlier this quarter, or I'm sorry, last quarter in September. So I think that's what I would be keeping an eye on. Now it looks like it still wants to try and push up to there, so it's certainly a possibility. But as I said, if we're going to see upwards of 250 or more, we're going to need to see a lot more volume. Looks like EOSE is still trading lower, still trying to get some support from that 65 EMA. Looks like NVTS, that also went lower, much lower, 1612, now the low of the day, trying to reverse. BOF, this continues to trade better after finding some support around 250. We got the 65 EMA that was at about 252 this morning. We traded, we opened, went down there, reversed, and we're trying to claw our way back up to 280. There are a lot of sellers from 280 upwards. I see concentration of sellers. It seems like every 5 cents up to $3. So from here, it's going to be 280, 285. 290, and then we jump up to $3 where there's a lot of sellers. So going to need to see more volume in this one in order to get through all those different tranches of sellers. All right, what are we looking at here? It is a little bit choppy, isn't it, Jack? Shorting PLTR with PLTZ, I think that's probably one of the better ways to do it. EOSE looks like this is starting to get some life. We did get that support from the 65 EMA. It is turning around, trying to make its way back up towards VWAP. VWAP in my broker, the value I have is 1709. Might be a little bit different from yours, but we are getting some climbing action happening here. Looking for a move over 17. We're right there at the doorstep. Looks like we've got some resistance up here at 17 for EOSE. NERV, this is continuing to try and push up to some of the pre-market levels. Pre-market high was 761. We are still trying to hold above 7, but it's looking a little shaky here right now. Not liking the way these upper shadows, these wicks on the last two candles are looking. This is the one that has the bearish looking pattern, the head and shoulders. Don't like the way these wicks look. This typically indicates that there's some downside coming. Been already saying that with this one, but we do need to see a loss of that VWAP to get that resolution to the downside. So it hasn't happened yet. Something to watch for here.
All right. Sorry about that. 13.
No worries. Good morning.
By the way, your nerve call still under 7 here. Pretty good. That looked like maybe a head fake we got there.
Well, it's still hanging out. We need to see the loss of the VWAP.
I literally, sorry.
I was going to say, I did say that if this does break beyond 765, then we've invalidated this bearish looking pattern, but hasn't happened yet.
I literally got back right as ATMV was rehalting. So this did open, trade up, rehalt 1551. That halt time there, 9:37. And I think it was a 5-minute halt. Yeah, 5-minute halt right out of the gate. So we'll see if the next one here is also a 5-minute halt. That's ATMV.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, if this is the one that is merging with AMC Corp, then there must be some kind of news or something happening with this one. I know we got HOND. They had their shareholder meeting recently. That one has been selling off. Looks like that one's going lower. They approved that combination. It's going to be the ticker will change on October 28th to IMSR. So there's that one. I haven't read enough into this one to know if there's any other lockup shares that have to be that have to wait to be sold. But this one looks like it's heading lower. Don't like the way the formation looks there.
All right, BOF here. This still looks like it's flirting with 275. Seems to be the high spot that it can't take out. I've got VWAP up there at 287 if it can roll. Pulling back off that high spot there. Izzy, good job on the Amazon scalp. That pretty much just went straight up out of the gate. So too did Apple, by the way. Apple here printing right now. Again, I'm waiting for Tenzin to come back. He has been awesome with the Apple trade. I know we recently talked about this on a 215 break to 233. Here we are, 264. The demise of Apple was greatly exaggerated, as it always is. Apple here playing some catch up.
RTX also had earnings. They were up this morning. That's missile company.
Yep. We talked about that. That traded up a little before the earnings and then popped after the earnings.
Lots of stuff. Just NBTS.
Navitas?
NBTS really fallen now. So falling through all the levels that I was mentioning earlier. The next area I see that support is going to be down under 1550. It's like pretty much 1525 to 1545. That 20-cent range there looks like that's going to be the next demand zone.
Cam says, I got out of Apple at 260. That was probably a pretty good trade. I think you might get another opportunity, but 265. Big morning here for Apple.
Look at NERV. It just completely destroyed that pattern, and it's ripping right now. Volume just completely stepped in. Took it up to that 850 area that I had outlined. This completely invalidated the bearish looking pattern.
And really quick here, Smoke Tuna said, watch nerve for the 5-min MACD to go green. Here it is. It actually looks like it's getting ready. It hasn't yet. But it looks like it's getting ready to flip green there. Nerve through 8.
All right, let's see. Where is this going to go next now? Okay. So at the 850 area, there's a lot of concentration.
What a move.
It's really big move. There's a lot of concentration, but if we can chew through it, it's going to take us to 10. I think that's where I would kind of put the next.
880, big pop there. Grats to whoever was in nerve here. This one not easy. 9's coming now through 904. Going to halt.
No, it's still going.
They pulled it off.
It's still looking like 10 might be the next resistance area. It's gonna go.
Oh my God, this thing is all over. I'm looking at the level 2 here, and I'm thinking, but how would we end up trading this here? You literally just pulled down and then blinked, and it was 40 cents higher. This kind of a wild one here. Grats if you're in it.
You'd had to have taken it when I was talking shit on it.
and don't, you're right. And don't chase the move higher here. We've already pulled back quite a bit. Already pulled back 60 cents off that high print. Don't chase this name. We've seen nerve here before. That was a good move there from a bearish formation 13. That's how it goes sometimes.
That's how it can be sometimes, yeah.
A good call there, Tuna, on watching that the MACD in here. We are, in fact, watching that.
Yep, still trying to get back into that 9 handle. There's a seller in the way at 9. They think they just took him out because now we're back above 9.
Here we go. Smoke Tuna. I like this here too. So nerve was holding the price. Now, Smoke Tuna, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you mean is like holding the price up here, right? It didn't roll over and come back in and retrace some of this pre-market move. It did, in fact, hold sideways here. And then it was just all of a sudden the gates kind of broke loose there through the pre-market high. Now we're testing 9s here. Real good stuff. Let me ask you, Tuna, where's the pullback level here on nerve? Parker's Thinkorswim indicator mentioning RGTZ. Rigetti must be falling here. Rigetti spaghetti, is it hitting the floor?
It's going down because the RGTZ is pretty well. Also look at NVTS. This thing is absolutely getting destroyed. This the big level for this one looks like it was
oh my gosh,
around 16.5. Just looking back yesterday, that 1660 area was support in the regular session, and then it was also that same support area right out of the gate and when this pre-market opened. And then when we had the regular session open, we lost that level, and we are getting back everything from yesterday now. So I would say that support's probably coming as early as 1550, because that was the high of the pre-market yesterday.
All right, Nerve here continuing to pound those highs. 10 coming here on Nerve. Smoke Tuna giving you some spots here on Nerve. 682, 795, 1357. There's the 10 level that 13 gave you. 1011 is your high there.
Smoke Tuna, I only see 1357 from here.
And Nerve, this is trading up in 30-cent blocks now.
Yeah, be careful. So there's 10. Next spots that I'm seeing. There's a gap. No, that's not a gap fill. 1150 looks like it could be next. And then the big ones are going to be in the 13 handle, about the 1357 area that he was mentioning.
Nerve, 270+% right now. Do not chase this move higher, I don't think.
It might even see a lot more resistance kick in the 12 area, like around 1250, because there's some consolidation from 2021 that goes a little bit higher than that 1357 area. So that cluster might even come into play, because I don't think we've hit that price since 2021.
Tuna mentioning 940 as a possible pullback level here. Nerve is pulling back. 1040 was indeed your high. We'll see if we get that set up there on Nerve. ATMV still halted. That actually went to view app and then returned around and halted to the downside.
DOSE continuing lower, now down to the 200 EMA. GSIT also doing the same thing, going down to its 200 EMA. RyoJ losing its 200 EMA.
Told you. Look, I learned from the last one. This thing, head fake last time, no bueno this time. Nerve coming back in, still waiting for 940. We'll see what happens there on Nerve.
Yeah, Sun Power also losing its 200 EMA. A lot of these are just coming back in. The only really good looking one is NERV.
Yeah, BOF, this actually looks like this might complete a rollover here. We'll see. iBio, this popped while we were taking a look at Nerve. This did come back into the VWAP and is bouncing so far on iBio. We have that high print there, 147, it looks like.
If you want, we can do an RGTZ trend line. I don't know how well.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know how well it'll work, but if you start with yesterday's price action and just do a trend line from the using the peaks.
Okay.
That'll kind of give you an idea of where we might end up running to today. And I don't know that we will get to this level to today in RGTZ, but it's possible. Maybe following some kind of cooling off. Now, if we are coming back in here in RGTZ, I'm going to want to see $14 hold up, 14 and maybe $14.15. That looks like that was the resistance area since yesterday, going into the pre-market today. We broke out of it at the open, and now we're about to back test it. I would want to see this hold up, because if it does, then I think that trend line is going to be in play.
Okay, RGTZ big pull as Rigetti is bouncing right there.
Yep. So let's see if this 14 to 14.15 area can provide support. So if it does, I think that we could turn around and see that a test of that trend line.
NASDAQ and SPY at your day lows here. Dow did turn around from its high, but it's actually still a little bit higher here. So market is also pulling a little bit.
Somebody said bye-bye Nerve.
Yeah, it broke and went higher to 1043. 1040 was the previous high. It set a new all-time high, or not, excuse me, a new intraday high, and then pulled off that spot a little bit here. I've got it at 985.
Yeah, I mean, bye-bye Nerve I think would be more appropriate if we lose 850. That might be the level to watch for if this party is over. But for now, it still looks like we're hanging out up here. Beyond Meat has moved beyond the VWAP, going lower. Branch out foods still looking pretty good, even with all the supply it's got to chew through here. Trying to get through this 280 level next. VWAP is right above that at 287.
What I love the most about BOF here is that it's not run as far as Nerve has. Maybe there's another spot in it. We would really like to see this volume expand, though, wouldn't we?
Yes, if we want, yes, absolutely. To get through some of these sellers here. I mean, if you look at your price ladder, you can see just where all these big sellers are parked at, and we're chewing through some of them right now, but they just continue to have more concentration of these sellers up towards 3. So yeah, want to see that volume expand there.
Okay, we'll see what we get. See what we get. Sorry.
GSIT, that's all the way down to its 200 EMA now.
Okay, with 279, 280 looks to be the spot here. BOF. There's actually some size there on the tape. They're taking it though. There it goes.
Yeah, it's
BOF. Let's see what happens. Only a few cents away from the VWAP here.
Yeah, and then there's you probably see on your price ladder the next area of sellers at 285. So it just creates these upside pressures that you need to see expanding volume in order to get through.
So question here. I don't understand why Amazon having a pretty decent move here today. Grats, Izzy. I know you hitting this one out of the gate. Let me know if you have another entry level here. Amazon 220 looks to be the resistance. I don't understand. How does Amazon keep rising after causing a global service interruption? I think the thought process here, remember, the market's always looking forward, so it's pricing what it thinks is going to happen here in the future. And I think what we saw from that outage is that it wasn't necessarily a hack or anything to really kind of be worried about. They had all the services restored by the end of the day. So maybe they're just pricing that going forward here. Amazon.
Nerve is over 11 now.
This was the big mover of the day here. Nerve.
Looks like it.
Jay Wild saying Lulu is looking decent. Remember, we do have some positive seasonality there on Lulu. Talked about this one quite a bit.
GSIT and EOSE are trying to turn around here. EOSE having a much better reversal than GSIT right now. NVTS also looking to turn around here as well.
Jay bringing up a good point here. My guess is that it's doing the same thing Crowd did. Remember, CrowdStrike sold off on that outage that it had that caused all those those flight cancellations, and then immediately traded higher. Didn't even look back. Here's GSIT right at that 200 EMA 13.
Yep.
Nerve pushing towards 12.
Jeez. Yeah, we're looking for, I think, 15 or something that we said. Didn't mark it off when I said it. Let me go back and look.
Nerve, dude. This keeps going here. Here we are. Here it is again. 2 points higher than where I said don't chase. I'm doing the best I can to try and help you guys and make sure. And it just some of these stocks are just so crazy. They just say goodbye to it.
Okay, so yeah, we're getting pretty close to where we were getting into the cluster that might, provide a lot of resistance from 2021. We'll see what happens as soon as we get to the $13 handle, because that's where it really starts to the real thick part of it is. All right. Let's see here. What else is looking good?
EOSE did bounce off that 200 EMA.
Mm-hmm.
This actually fighting with the 65 EMA now, 1642 EOSE.
And so far, RGTZ doing what we want it to do. Got support from those, yesterday's high and the pre-market high. So we want to see this turn around here. So far, we're getting that. And the next thing we want to see is recapture of VWAP and a move back up towards 15.
He appreciate that. Appreciate that. Big pullback here. $1+ pullback on Nerve now.
Yeah. After hitting 1246.
Just broke 11 to the downside.
Yeah, it looks like GSIT's still trying to turn around. BOF still trying to make its way up towards VWAP, up through this area of resistance around 280 that we were looking at earlier. Beyond Meat reversing off the 65 EMA. Still going to need to see better volume than this, but it is trying to get back up to 225.
Maybe if that retests the trend line, but look what happened when we back tested it. We lost it, gave it up pretty easily. More Apple calls as Apple. I got 265.30 as your high there on Apple, pulling back here towards the VWAP. This might not be done though. Nerve recapturing 11 after that pullback. SPWR riding right on the 200 EMA.
NBTS not able to find support, still falling. New lows now, 1542. ATMB is unhalted. It's trying to fill a gap to the upside.
Let's take a look at the tape here. This thing's spread like crazy, ATMV.
Hey, RGTZ behaving very, very well with the technicals that we were outlining. It's currently above my VWAP. It might be a little bit different for other folks, but it's trying to turn around here. So far, so good. EOSE just kind of bouncing between support and resistance.
1417, the VWAP here. I wonder if these ETFs, if continuing to watch the VWAP and what the price does when it comes in and to that VWAP, I wonder if that will set up another repeatable trade pattern like it has for TQQQ and SQQQ. Rigetti, this basically, RGTZ, this basically pulled back to the VWAP, bounced, gave you a pretty decent bounce candle. We'll see if it retests 15 to the upside, currently 1456.
You're suggesting maybe that there's some kind
Tenzin, there he is. Sorry, 13, for interrupting. Tenzin, I've been waiting for you all day here today. The Apple trade that you were screaming about the last several sessions here, absolutely amazing. More news on Apple, or more good price action here on Apple. I think that you're referring that here your bought puts today, you bought puts on Apple. Am I getting that right? Let me know. Let me know. And if so, where are you looking for Apple to pull back to? Rooney says, Ryan, what are you referring to? I would be happy to readdress. Oh, what do you think of GitLab? So this is interesting. First of all, I think that we do a really good job bringing guests on here, because if you remember back to bringing Luke Lloyd on Monday, I believe of last week, he talked about GitLab here. We had a huge move on Thursday of last week. Now it actually sure looks like it's going to trade up to the top end of that candle. I think $50 here on GitLab. One other thing that we had a discussion here, we actually use GitLab here at Benzinga, and our engineering team on happy hour said they don't really understand. It's not the greatest, but price action has been good. We brought on a guest that talked about this in a very timely fashion. I think GitLab probably tests 50. That'd be my thought on it. No position though. Easy for me to have a thought when I have no position. ATMV, this is trying to build above 14 and perhaps make its way back to the VWAP of 16.
Just gap filled. I gotta double check and make sure I'm thinking that this is the correct one.
All right, so here we go.
Merging with AMC Corporation. Yeah.
Tenzin, yes, bought it at the open, but I just sold it a second ago. I bought puts because it didn't open on yesterday's high. You're getting that from Dow Theory. That's on Apple. Smoke Tuna saying GitLab is a swing setup. Tuna, what targets do you have on GitLab? In fact, when we brought Luke on, he was also talking about that for more than just kind of a shorter term trade, more of like a swing. Let me know what you have in terms of targets. GTLB GitLab.
GSIT is about to hit the closing price from yesterday.
I've got it. Yeah.
1297. So we're getting pretty close there. And looks like Branch Out Food still trying to get back up to that VWAP, having a hard time, needs better volume. It's really the only thing that needs.
iBio gave you a pop and drop. We've seen that before from iBio. Beyond Meat still under the VWAP and the trend line. I don't know. Here's your BOF 13.
There's that. NERV is trying to hold above. Well, it's fighting for holding above 11. And looks like we're getting a little bit of a pullback here in RGTZ.
CLF here, we actually had a story. I'll go ahead and throw this in the chat. I didn't have enough to get to this news story here. CLF is exploring getting into rare earth. So we've talked a lot about rare earth here, some of those stocks. CLF, the article that I just linked in there, they're basically telling you, CEO is telling you that they view rare earths as an opportunity and a responsibility. So we'll see here if CLF gets involved in that. This thing is just straight down out of the open here. Nothing but red candles, nothing but selling volume on CLF. Almost retraced the entire move from yesterday already. Good Lord.
Yeah, aside from MP Materials, I think you want to look at companies that actually have the capability to refine.
Yeah,
that's the big thing. There's lots of companies in countries that are mining these rare earths, which aren't that rare, but it's the refinement that is really the big issue, and that's kind of where China's dominating. They have a vast majority of the refinement capacity the world depends on. So we, aside from MP Materials, we can find another company that's really close to having refining operations in the U.S. or as an ally of the U.S. is going to spin up refining operations. That's really where we need to be looking at. I think not so much who has the ability to mine the ore, but the ability to refine it.
Yeah, Marty here mentioning Trump in Australia currently working on a rare earth deal. I wouldn't be surprised to see one out of Argentina as well with some of that we've seen. Jay here saying some of the overcrowded trades are getting smoked. VST, CEG, NBIS, STX, and WDC. So some of those storage names finally getting hit here. And let's take a look at STX. This one actually not terrible here today. I actually have this as up here today. This is off its highs. Almost wonder if this trades down more here. STX. WDC probably looks similar, I'm guessing. WDC actually looks like it's got a better setup for another move lower.
So UUU, also another refining. So they're probably newer to rare earth refining though, right? Or is that something they've always been able to do with uranium when they're refining uranium? But yeah, this looks like this is another one. Looks like they just started to be able to produce rare earths last year? Is that correct? Let me know.
The BOF, Mayo, here we go. VWAP test coming here on BOF. And we'll see what happens here on BOF. Nerve, best trader of the day here.
All right, let's see if I can find something that's still looking pretty good here because everything looks like it's trying to sell. EOSE, this is kind of going sideways following their the selling they had out the gate. GSIT still heading lower. BOF still trying to get above that VWAP.
I've got it at 285. Maybe this pulls back to 272. BOF.
Is it feeling like volume just isn't, the volume is greater?
Yes, and coupling that 13, it also feels like the market kind of flashing some weakness here, right? SPY is continuing to move lower. NASDAQ has pretty much completely rolled over here. Here's what it looks like on the SPY, 670, your level there. Here's what the Qs look like. Dow is actually still holding okay, but tech looking weak. Maybe this move down here in tech is slowing down.
Well, then where's the rotation going? What sectors are up?
BOF, by the way, that did turn back the lower here, could not get through its VWAP. You want to take a look at what sectors? Here we go. Yeah. So looking at this, I know that these things are broken a little bit here. XME, This is down 6.1%. The big one here, oil and gas exploration, XES. This having one of the better days, it looks like. Consumer is in the green, aero and defense in the green, financials in the green, industrials in the green, and communications in the green. Yep, agreed.
Yep. A lot of safe plays,
agreed.
Defensive. Yep, everybody's saying it. Yep. It seems like folks are getting a little weary of the growth angle. So we're going and flying into some of the more safe assets, some that pay dividends.
VIX hovering at 1884 right now. Bitcoin also 109. That's actually up off the morning lows. Still down on the day.
I see a couple that look interesting that they might be turning around. Like SPWR has been kind of basing here for some time. It might turn around, but I just don't like the volume. A lot of these names just looking pretty weak. I mean, Beyond Meat's still trying to recapture that VWAP. RyoJ has been doing nothing except go lower. BOF still trying to recapture its VWAP. GSIT just, I'm just going to GSIT this one out. EOSE is going sideways, has been going sideways since after it dropped out of the open here. This is kind of setting up to go lower if we don't get more volume. NVTS, this thing is just nothing but down. ATMV is chopping around, but it looks like this may also eventually go lower too. Not a whole lot of good names right at the moment.
Nope. CLF, I am seeing some calls get bought into this down move. Philip Morris, which reported earnings earlier and traded higher. This gave everything back and is going lower here. Maybe this bounces down here at 148-ish. It's ticker PM Philip Morris, which I'll generally just avoid. GM, this reported earnings. This actually moving higher here. General Motors shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 financial results and raised full year 25 adjusted EPS outlook. GM here, 66 prints, as that is above the pre-market high.
CFO says we expect EV demand to be lower into early 2026.
I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, is it?
I don't think it's a surprise. I think it's more it speaks to more of the idea that EVs aren't going to be the complete future like a lot of folks were saying. I think even myself at one point, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It just everything that we're realizing about them, about how expensive they are to produce and how dirty they can be to produce, and we just don't the supply chain to produce all these is still pretty dependent on other countries. Might not be the time. Close, but not the time.
Is there an argument to be made that like some of these EV cars are going to require some of these rare earths, and maybe we should prioritize that towards defense? Is that a possible thesis at all?
Well, some of these already do require rare earths.
That's what I'm saying. I'm almost wondering if it seems that the rare earth need is kind of arcing towards defense and maybe even AI.
It's already there.
I'm wondering if that continues to pull away from EVs. I don't know. Just speculating.
No, because it's going to pull away from the entire automotive sector altogether.
Okay.
Because rare earths still go into ICE vehicles as well. Neodymium magnets are important. Doesn't matter if your vehicle runs on a battery or gasoline. Yeah, see it, Kevin. Exactly. All of them require rare earths. Okay. Some just okay. I think between EVs and ICE, EVs might require slightly more, but really the bulk of if you want to even call it rare earth is going to be in the batteries.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
just wondering if that's another relationship we can take a look at. By the way, BOF, looking like it was going to try and retest the VWAP to the upside, immediately pulled back down. Don't know if it's got the strength to do that yet.
Joseph Schmo, the prominent companies making batteries for EVs. Well, we know one's Tesla. CATL, CATL, that's the big one over in China. I think they have a partnership with BYD, so BYD is going to be another one. You also have Panasonic. They've been making batteries for Tesla and other companies as well. And I think those are pretty much some of the biggest players. I know there's a few names I'm leaving out. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but those are some of the really big players on the battery side. Graphene is another. Yes, that is absolutely true. Graphene is another requirement for batteries, and this goes along with the theme that I think we're going to be seeing next year, where batteries, it might even start this year. Batteries are going to be important going forward. So every component and material that's going to be used to go into building these batteries are going to be important. Graphene is going to be one of them. If we're talking about some data center batteries, we might see the vanadium batteries start to pick back up again. So there's a lot of different types of batteries. There's a lot of different materials that go into these different types of batteries. I think we should be paying attention to just the battery space in general going into next year. We also have lithium prices on the rise, and I expect those to continue rising all through 2026. Lots of things happening here with that.
Yeah, and just wait to see if some of those other minerals are on the rise, like vanadium, like the one that you just mentioned there. That might set up for some other trades for us as well.
Yep. All right, let's look and see what. So we're getting a little bit of a turnaround here in some of these names. NVTS with a big reversal candle. We might get some chopsticks here if this candle ends up closing the way it looks now. Actually, there it is, just closed. So we might be getting a reversal here in NVTS. RGTZ, that was on the recovery, and then it had a massive fall through VWAP. So there's a big spike in the price for Rigetti.
Yeah, Rigetti basically right back to 43, right back to that opening high candle there, RGTI. Here, I'll actually bring up the underlying.
Looks like S Power is also trying to curl back up as well. NERV, following a knife, this was caught by the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, trying to recover. I don't think it has enough volume to do so. This might still come down to VWAP. NVTS. The NVTS might provide a pretty good reversal play. I think you're going to run into some resistance between 1575 to 16, but this looks like it's trying to trade back up into that area. All right, let's see here. GSIT still trying to curl back up. I don't know how great these are going to be given the time of day that we're about to go into. We're 19 minutes away from when volume really starts to leave the market. So I don't know how good the trading is going to be going into that time, but afterwards it might be better. And this market's also kind of looking a little bit weak too.
Okay, sorry about that.
Watch UNH going into earnings.
I can bring up UNH. Been a bit since we've taken a look at that, actually.
Yeah, I had some southern price action this morning, but it's recovering.
It does look like Nerve is trying to bounce here, but it almost looks like that's in no man's land. Here's what your UNH chart looks like. Earnings are next Tuesday, October 28th, prior to the market opening.
Let's see.
You got another week before that earnings report is out.
And, we never really filled the gap.
We got awfully close, though, man.
Yeah, we did. We never filled the gap, so that's still going to happen. Now, if we do fill the gap and we've got momentum, that could carry us all the way up to the 200-day SMA, where I think we're going to see resistance. But if earnings are just that good, it might even take that out too. But that's going to be the next area of resistance is that gap fill into that 200-day SMA area.
What is your 200-day at? I can go to my chart. I just don't want to take the time to do it. What is the value?
393.07.
Okay. So that did creep in beneath 400. I think the last time we checked it, it might have been 401 and some change. Coca-Cola CEO saying that the lower income consumer is under pressure. That's confirming stuff we already know. They said China didn't come in as strong. That confirms stuff we already know.
EOSE is in the process of recapturing at 65 EMA. It's moving up towards VWAP. I think you already knew about the consumer having trouble, and we're starting to see some of the higher profile consumers show up in other stores like Walmart and Dollar General. That's one of the reasons why I like Dollar General. been holding on to that one pretty much all year. Gonna wait for this to go higher, of course, but the Dollar General has been pretty good, and I think it's going to continue to do well. It still hasn't gap filled from August of last year either.
Dow, more new highs here. So the NASDAQ and the SPY are trying to bounce, but Dow, no chill. That set some new highs here. So that industrial is still strong. Some of those defensive names still strong. And Nerve here, by the way, despite it looking like it was kind of hanging out in no man's land there, did kind of use that 9 EMA as a bounce spot. We're 40 plus cents from that bounce spot.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to recover here. This still... the MACD has the momentum indicating that it's still on a downward trajectory. It could bounce here still, but it's indicating that we could still. I think it's going to come down to the VWAP. If we lose that, then I think it's going to confirm the downward trajectory. But if we hold above it, then we'll likely bounce and potentially print higher highs.
Pan American Silver here, PASS, seeing a lot of 55 calls for January of 2027. Looks
EOSC.
like Leaps here bought in repeat buyers here. Sorry, 13?
EOSC. This is starting to move now. It's over VWAP. It's getting going here.
Okay, let me go to it. Sorry, I wanted to take a look at this PASS. I'll do it. I'll do it a little later, I guess. Let's do EOSC. This right back to its VWAP EOSC.
Should be over it now.
Yeah, it's over it now. You're right.
Looking for 1750. That would be the next area where I think resistance is going to start to kick in. It really gets heavy as you get to 1775. But from here, looks like we still have a good chance of getting up into the 1750 area. Some of these names just turning up, coming back up. RIOJ recapturing some levels as well. That's coming up to its 65 EMA. BOF is courting the VWAP right now. NVTS, that chopsticks or the tweezer reversal, that's still holding up, making its way towards VWAP, but pretty slowly. So be careful with that one. Okay.
Good mention on EOSC there. I actually hit that going right through the VWAP there. Out here, we'll see. So that sets up again. Maybe that comes all the way back. I got a feeling it pulls. Maybe it pulls and holds VWAP. That actually make for some pretty decent entry. At least I got the first trade off the board there. Good Lord.
Nice.
Lion here. Ryan, I'm in 35 PAAS calls expiring in December. Okay, so that's interesting because we just saw a whole bunch of calls come across the tape here, PASS. This is in your silver theme. Looks like what they're doing here is buying the 55 call for January. 55 call January of 2027. This is some pretty decent leaps out here, PAAS. So you're in the 35 calls that expire this year. So you have a much shorter term trade than this. 17, by the way, now on EOSC. So it did get 17. It's actually moving through it. I'll wait for a pullback here. It was not bad there, though. Tell you what, there was way better entry on that curl. Down in the low 16s, maybe 16 and a quarter. That was probably the better entry there. Ranny is continuing to trade higher here. Looks like it's running into 3. Didn't quite print it, but it's close.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, because I'm looking at the very beginning of January 2024, very end of December 2023. There's a big area of consolidation that has affected the price previously. If you look at the price action from last year, when we went all the way down in August and we tried to recover in September, it was more than one occasion, September and then October. Try to get back above that $4 area, which is the top end of that consolidation. Couldn't do it. So I think from 3 to 4, you're going to have a lot of resistance in that range because of how much supply there is back from the beginning of 2024.
I'll tell you what, 13, that stands out on the daily chart. You're absolutely right.
So that's what I would be looking at there, Izzy. All right. Now
EOSC, this still continuing here, 17, 18.
Yeah,
this is actually not bad.
1750, I think, is going to be that resistance area we're looking for. And then beyond meat, that's trading beneath the 65 EMA. I think this thing is about to go test the consolidation from the pre-market, the big sideways consolidation from the open until about 750 this morning.
I'm going to refresh Pro here real quick. Go back to my main workspace. Boop. EOSE might be slowing down here. Let's take a look at some of the other movers. Nerve still holding that bounce from the 9 EMA. That's the $10 level. This slowing down, volume slowing down, MACD compressing. So all signs here is that this is kind of slowing down a little.
Everything does look like it's kind of slowing down. Some of it, some of the stuff is getting some support, but the volume just isn't there in a lot of these names. Where it needs to be in order to get these the follow through of these moves to hit the technical targets we're looking at here.
Tesla really kind of held the pre-market low down there at 442. I actually haven't noticed a lot of unusual options on Tesla here today.
SPWR, this is still recovering some levels. It just got back above the 65 EMA.
Nerve pulling.
This one, SPWR, I would be looking at 210 as the next resistance level. If we can get above that, I think we'll still be able to see VWAP, but I think we're going to need some good volume to get to this whole 205 to 210 area.
Chester, nice 20% move on Rani since 250. There's a good mention there. Fine job as well. Yeah, and Big B is mentioning Amazon. Izzy has been on this all morning here. We talked about that a little bit. I didn't necessarily see a setup here. Amazon straight up after that Amazon Web Services thing. Every pullback here, they've basically been pullbacks to the VWAP. Every one has been met with a buy. So this rolling much higher here. Ryan, I sold a put on PAAS 35 expiring from March for 400 premium. So you're okay being put to the stock at 35? Otherwise, you're just going to collect that premium? Didn't you already? Yeah, you already own some at 35, right? So that makes sense. Take care of yourself, Wisdom. It's good to see you.
Take care, Wisdom. Have a good one.
I like that he comes in here, blesses the stream, and then just bounces and continues with his day. And isn't it like ridiculously early in Hawaii, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that there?
Maybe he's about
nerve
to go,
pulling, lost 10.
He's probably about to go to sleep, if anything. But yeah, he just comes on in here, takes a big old hit from the spliff, blows it at us, says bless you all, and leaves.
Oh man, Bitcoin ramping to the highs. Ramping on Bitcoin.
EOSE, we're approaching that 1750 area. We are almost there. That's the spot where we're going to want to see if the volume is going to take us through the level of resistance and help chew through the consolidation, all the supply that's above us here from 1750 to 1850, or if this is going to be a site of rejection. So we'll know once we start to get into here and we see what the volume does. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that $17 level was a pretty decent magnet. My thought was that when this thing retook VWAP, we probably popped a little and then found some resistance at 17. So I sold the scalp there at 16.94. Should not have, honestly, should have really kind of seen what it did at 17. Clearly a move through here. We'll see if it slows down a little bit, but probably could have got a little bit more on that scalp. That's okay. At least I got some green on the screen here today after missing out on Nerve. And I don't think chasing Nerve is the right move. This actually looks like it might roll over here. I know that this thing went $2 from saying not chase. Still don't think that's the right move. Look for 10 to break. We might come into the VWAP 850. It's 422 in Hawaii. Okay.
Oh, that's why he came on.
Oh, oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Got to get the ticker right here for TTD, the trade desk.
Right, Jay.
Is it going lower?
No, it's going higher. It's recovering. We are coming. So we're in this consolidation, this supply zone that it came down to in the pre-market after we had that big impulse move out of the open of the pre-market. So we've been in this sideways consolidation for the majority of the morning. This goes from looks like it's like 475 to 525. So this 50-cent range we're trying to chew through right now. Big seller in the way at 522 is trying to take. We just took him out.
Here we go.
And this looks like 560 is going to have the next resistance if we continue up there. 560, and then let's see here, 560, and then I see 580, and then the VWAP.
This is skipping numbers here. Just trying to trade higher. Not so this is really good. It's 13. That 525 break, that was a good call. We're actually getting the expanding volume. We've got the MACD flipping green here. I know we've got a ways away for that VWAP, so I'm not going to chase the move higher here, but this is a good mention. Volume looking good here. RYOJ.
Yep. So high of 555. Just shy of the 5.6 we want to see. So 5.6 is going to have the next area of resistance. We're still trying to hit it. Now, if we get through that, we have 580 as the next resistance, and then that VWAP right above it at 590. So 3 levels from here.
Here's your pull. There's your yank. They just yanked it a quarter and then brought it right back on. Boy, this thing is still not the easiest one to trade here.
Lots of stuff just pulled all at the same time. NVTS did the same thing. So did there was another one I was looking at that was doing it here too. I think it was BOF that also may have done it. So a lot of those names at the same time, they were all kind of pulling.
PayPal might actually be testing that 70 there. Tesla did bounce. That's continuing its bounce higher off the 442 level. Lion thinks TTD earnings will be good. It will run up higher after earnings. That's TTD, the trade desk. That one has been, you want to talk about a chart that's been severely beaten down here. Let's see when those earnings are here, Lion. I've got TTD earnings confirmed for November 6th. Oh. So we got plenty of time.
Oh, this looks like the 5650 is your neckline. I don't think I need to go beyond much explanation after that, but yeah, 5650 is your neckline, I would say.
Okay, yeah, 5650. That's right in here. I would agree with that. It also does look like this double bottom down here at 43 is intact.
Double
and then
bottom.
Here on trade desk, we've got a gap fill up to 87.
Yeah, double bottom, inverse head and shoulders, neckline at 5650.
Okay.
I think you're getting a lot of indicators here for this one that implies that upside is coming. If you're going to get a gap fill, that gap fills all the way up at like 88 and change, but there's probably going to be some areas of resistance on the way up. I think 65.5 could be one. You're probably also going to get another one at 80. Those are a couple of there's a gap fill there from about 75 to 80 also. So there's some levels you can draw on for some for some resistance, but I think we're going to see a lot of this get filled up. This based on the way this pattern looks, and that might be pretty soon too. When do we get earnings?
TTD looking good. Did you say when?
When do we get earnings? Is it
November 6th?
Okay. Now it might go higher. It might turn around and go higher before that. I mean, it just looks like it might resolve sooner than that, to be honest.
Amanda says, I'm in PayPal with 65 puts, a position I almost always have. I like the stock. Did you sell those puts? I'm in PayPal with 65 puts. It sounds like, based on what you said there, that you're long those puts. Ryo J, that continuing higher here, still not at its VWAP, 609.
Your VWAP's at 609?
I have the VWAP in my broker at 609, correct.
Okay. I got 584, so we were really close to that. As a matter of fact, this is hitting all the different levels that I was mentioning. 580 was the next one. That was we almost got it because we went to 576, so that's pretty good. This might be the area where it goes a little bit sideways here because this is some pretty stiff resistance. And then you have that my VWAP in the way there too. We'll see what happens. Okay, well maybe they'll just try to push through it. Why not?
This is a good mention here. By the way, it just went through your VWAP there.
Yep.
RYOJ 593, your high print there. Jay saying TTD, see what Netflix says tonight about their ad business. That could impact the trade desk. Okay. Amanda says, I'm a premium girl. It's always a sell. You need a business card, Amanda, that says premium girl on it. Just throwing that out there.
Producer, get to work on those lyrics.
Make it so. Make it so.
Work on those lyrics. Make sure you include something about how she likes to sell, and she's a premium girl.
Oh man,
do it to the tune of, gosh, I'm trying to think of the name of the band. Anyway,
I love that you basically treat producer like he's a large language model, and you just give him tasks to do, and then he just does them. That's
No doubt.
I think the best part of the whole thing.
Do it to the tune of No Doubt.
Okay.
I'm just a girl. I'm just a premium girl, or Material Girl. There you go, by Madonna. That's another one.
Oh man,
have fun, producer. We'll see you tomorrow.
Say, Amanda, I bet you didn't see that one coming. I bet you didn't see that one coming. RYOJ, volume is actually pretty impressive here. I'm not going to chase this move, but not terrible here.
Yeah,
not terrible. If you have this, I would ring the register on this one.
This is getting resistance at my VWAP. This is in an area where we were looking at. It was 580. So here we are. This could still turn around here, but if we continue to get this volume that we did these past two candles, we're going through VWAP. He's already typing the prompt.
I love that. Was my favorite. I'm already typing the prompt. Love it.
So
Amazon, by the way, 22224. If twos are your lucky number, Amazon getting it.
Nerve did continue lower, almost went to VWAP. It's trying to get some green here in this current candle. Beyond Meat also went beneath the 65 EMA. That's continuing lower. And BOF, that lost a 65 EMA, also lost a
yikes,
one of my levels at 255. Meanwhile, Rigetti back above its VWAP. NVTS, actually, this doesn't look like it's going to reverse quite yet. This could still go lower. Current low I have is 1474. Based on the way this price action looks, it seems like it could still go lower. Okay, we're getting a little
my God. Okay. He has an entire song.
You're welcome, Amanda.
Oh gosh. We have to somehow put this together because I'm not gonna sing. I don't want to scare everyone away from here.
AI will do that too. AI will sing for you.
I'm gonna have to look at that when my responsibilities are done for the day. That's too much. That's too much. We have a new Madonna song.
No doubt. Oh, is it Madonna?
It was
Material Girl?
Yeah. This was Madonna's Material Girl, Premium Girl. This is just, we're having too much fun here. We're having too much fun here.
Nerve recovering. Still more green in this current candle. Have 3 minutes left in it. RGTZ also climbing.
So that bounce then that we got on Rigetti, that was just a re-entry to RGTZ. That basically brought us down to 13. You know what though?
Yeah, I would have liked, but still more or less we were looking for. Oh wow, GSIT is really falling now. Trying to hold on to 12. We're actually down at yesterday's lows following the impulse move out of the gate. So this could be a support area, but if it doesn't hold up, then this might not find support until maybe down around 9.
Yeah, Jonathan, I agree with the chop here. The Dow is really the only thing that's had a direction, even though it's pulling off of its high. But the rest of the market is chopping around here.
Nerve, this is still climbing. Coming up to $10 where it was getting some support earlier. Just pushed through that. Now it's in the 10 handle again. Let's see what this does. If this takes us back up to the 11 and 12 area. GC will be below 8 in 2 weeks. Not sooner?
Jay giving you a conservative timeline there.
There must be some kind of expiration with something. You tell me what's the 2 weeks about, but it does look like it's going down to 8 and lower. Just looking around, seeing what looks good. EOSE trying to get support from its VWAP. If it doesn't get support here, I think it's probably going to visit some of those lows. Otherwise, we will be, if it does get support here, we have this supply from about 1775 to 1850. That's got to get through here. 1750 to 1850.
Easy Java mentioning that he feels all quantum and nuke trades are unwinding.
Could
so
be.
Here we go. Another minus 7% here on Oklo.
Could be.
We can whip around those quantum names here too. Here's Rigetti. Well, I think Scott's put spreads are probably working on this. We talked about the quantum theme with him this morning. All of these lower.
Yeah, you might even see some of the space names unwind too. I mean, those aren't doing too well this morning. ASTS certainly needs to be taken down.
Well, I tell you what, Rocket Lab coming back in. This chart looks like this might want to come back in too.
Yeah, the space names that have really gone on these crazy runs, yeah, they should come back in some more.
You mean the ones that got launched into orbit?
Yes.
ASTS, tell you what, you could actually probably use this 15 EMA. I mean, this is lining up pretty good. We actually have a gap beneath down here, fills at about 74. ASTS, I tell you what, if it breaks this 79 to the downside, I think we probably go lower on this one. Let me see what we have in terms of option pricing there. We'll ask Anne Marie about this too.
I think that one is just way overpriced.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Way overpriced. Like I'm not even sure I would think I feel comfortable with it being half the price that it is right now.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but that's just me.
So the November contract, there are some folks in puts lower than this, much lower. Looks like 60, 55, 50, even some in the 45 put. So it looks like there are plenty of traders betting on this to the downside. Likewise, there's still some 95, 90. It looks like, what is that? Yeah, 95, 90. I almost wonder if there was an upside call spread bought on this one.
Lion, you know how if you take as much air in as you can, you scream for a very long time, eventually you're going to run out of air. You need to take another breath again so you can continue to scream. That's what these stocks might be doing. Deep Dive is bringing up Zillow.
It's actually Dive Deep, but LOL. I'll go to Zillow here in a sec. Izzy wanting to know, Ryan, was there any news on Rainy today? I don't think so, right? Let's see. I know I'm trying to load it here. I don't know why my news isn't loading. I don't have anything in my note list. I don't think there was fresh news here today on Rani.
81 for Zillow looks pretty good. That's also where the 50-day SMA is. If we get up there and we can still hold above, I would say like 77, 78. After we test the 50-day SMA, we should be able to move through it afterwards. That's what I'd be looking at Zillow.
Real quick, Izzy, I do have news here that Wainwright assumes a buy rating on Rani and announced a price target of 11. But we'll see. Smoke Tuna saying BYND is turning here. Actually, it looks like it's testing the VWAP 216 there, BYND.
So 11 in Rainy, huh?
That's from Wainwright, though, so just mind the source.
Yeah, they must have somebody caught back in this consolidation from 2022. No problem, Dive Deep. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Beyond Meat's turning. Core shareholders opposing the CoreWeave sale is comical. CoreWeave shareholders are opposing the sale.
Isn't that like the best thing that happened to cores? Why would they oppose it?
I don't know. Now, this is another one that really went on a run. We haven't been up to that area where I thought it could be the top. It wasn't the exact top, but it was pretty close. Still hasn't been back up there. We're actually have a test of the 50-day SMA potentially coming. Nerve is also climbing again, trying to get through 1050. Looks like a lot of these names are, some of these names are trying to turn around where some of them just don't look like they're going to be turning around.
What does Nerve need to get above for you to feel good about that? Because I feel like this 1040, 1050 area could really just kind of sink it.
Well, there's a bit of a trend line that we're testing right now.
That's kind of what I was kind of eyeballing that myself.
And if we can't get above this, then I think we've got a potential descending triangle. We'll see.
Okay.
The resistance that we've got here is going to be, like around 1125 to 1150. Okay, so we're above that trend line now. Well, we were just a moment ago. But you see how the last time we were up here, we came up with these upper shadows that indicates that there's some sellers trying to keep this thing down. That's the area where I'm looking at for resistance. So it's about 1125 to like 1250, 1225 area. That whole section right there, we need to get above.
Okay.
All right.
Nerve looks a little shaky right here. But it looked shaky the last time before it made the huge impulse move. So, yeah, just mentioning.
NVTS, this is still trying to curl back up here. Needs to clear 1550. Looks like Ryo J is trying to set up to make another attempt at the VWAP. The volume in these names are not looking that great, so I don't know how much of this is going to follow through. GSIT might be putting in a bottom. I would imagine that the next time it gets up to 13, around 1380, it could get rejected. But as long as it doesn't lose 1270, I think we might still be able to recover.
Gold and silver at the low here. That's interesting. And Anne-Marie, the last time we had her on, she gave a silver put, didn't she? Here's gold finally getting a pullback.
CRM is breaking out. This is Jay.
Actually, this is a good mention, Jay.
Broke over the trend line that I had marked off. You want to draw it yourself. It started with the 14th of this year, drew 3 high from July 2025. So we just broke over that. We're in the. I also consolidated still. Then this goes back to 20. So the top position I have is 70, which is interesting because we also have the 500, the 200 SMA is just.
Is 13 breaking up for anyone else, or is it just me?
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you know what? Your camera's not. You're choppy. Yeah, your audio's choppy and your camera's choppy. A little bit better now.
All right.
Yeah, that's better. Together. That's better. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. Maybe just an internet hiccup, something. Hey, I'm just glad you got logged into Restream here today.
Yeah, I mean, there was yesterday authentication and login servers were just having a time.
They sure were. Everything, like so many things were affected too.
Affecting Zoom, affecting Pro.
Our news desk tools were affected. Even my FanDuel app was affected. Couldn't bet the Lions game last night. It never appeared. Okay, and you guys that are saying yes, it was 13. It looks like he's better now.
Yeah. Let me know. PWR. This back up here trying to test.
Take care of yourself, Judge.
Take care. PWR may have been a double bottom here. This is certainly watch for some expanding volume. The only thing that needs, otherwise it has a pretty good reversal setup here. Just need that.
Nerve yanked off that spot and is trying to bounce. Careful with this one, guys. Careful with Nerve. RYOJ, maybe that is bouncing. This ATMV has kind of been a disappointment today, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know when ATMV is supposed to have to merge or anything like that. Let me see if I can get any information.
Okay.
Might be a reason why it's moving.
PayPal continuing to ramp. That was a good mention, Lion. November 70s, huh, on PayPal?
So this was already supposed to merge. They were supposed to, oh, here we go with ATMV as I'm starting to talk about it. The ears must have perked up. They extended their deadline during their September 19th meeting. So now it's possibly extended to as far out as January 22nd next year.
Okay.
That's just, a brief, quick search on the information. It's, I can look into that some more if anybody's interested, but that's when they expect to do that next.
I don't see anything great here on any of these movers.
No,
Nerve maybe, but I'm weary of this.
Yeah, and Nerve might go here, and it could be really quick, and then it come back in just as fast, and maybe there's a halt in there. But I've had a couple of trades. I traded Nerve a couple of times. That was all right. Not a bad day. Just decent, but I don't think I want to get too heavy in anything with the way things are working,
I don't blame you. I hit EOSE, but that's it. PayPal here. Joe asking, please, guys, explain why you're so high on a PayPal recovery. Cyril saying PayPal like a bank. Here's one of the things that I really like about PayPal right now, and it's the chart. Here's what your PayPal chart looks like. I mean, look at this sideways area that we're in. I do think this is going to break here. I actually really like the product. I'm familiar with it myself, been using it for a long time. I also think one of the things that we've identified here is that this 75 level pretty key. So yes. The thought here is that if it can hold sideways here, eventually it's probably going to turn up, move through 75. That might send us towards 93-ish or 100.
I think you're going to have some resistance kick in somewhere in the low to mid 90s. You can see from last year when we ran up and did a double top.
Yeah, right here.
93. Yeah, that's going to be the area where I have the most question marks. Do we break through that? And if so, what's it on? What are the? Is it going to? Yeah. It's probably not going to be on earnings. Since that's in a week, and that would be quite a move to go from $70 up to 93 without some kind of catalyst. I'm not particularly bullish on PayPal. I'm not bearish either. I'm just kind of going off what the technicals are showing me. But I have no position in this. I have no interest in owning it. I think there's other better financials you can put in your portfolio if you're looking for something long term. But yeah, I'm just kind of going with the technicals, and what the technicals are showing me is that 75 is, like you said, a big resistance area. And we are in a sideways consolidation channel right now. Support from here is going to be down around 64.50. And we need to get above the 200-day SMA if we're going to see any of this upside happen.
Yeah, a couple of things here from the group. Amanda, they have a lot of cash on hand. They also own Venmo. This is, I think, another reason here. Everyone seems to use Venmo. I do.
I don't because I have PayPal. Both. So what?
What's that?
I don't use Venmo because I have PayPal.
Well, PayPal owns them, so it doesn't matter. You still are in the PayPal ecosystem.
Yeah, but so can I use PayPal to Venmo something to you?
I think you have to Venmo to Venmo, but I'm just saying that they own that. Yeah, right. I see what you mean. You should be able to Venmo PayPal customers to make that list a little less free. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Why do I need to download another freaking app?
Clicks. Real quickly here, Lion, I know I'm joking. Lion here saying, I got in PayPal for two reasons. It's been building a huge base. This is what we just talked about on the chart. And they have a great business. I agree. I agree on that. Tenzin bought more Apple calls. Tenzin's been crushing Apple recently. So if you're following that, new position there on Tenzin. Or excuse me, new position there on Apple by Tenzin. Sorry about that. Amanda also says, also, where can you get a stock with high quality of this high quality for 60-ish bucks? Steal of a deal. So you can do this, Amanda says. I've never actually done that. Interesting.
Okay.
13, if you want to test that, just send me a 20 and we'll see if it works. The addresses work either way.
PayPal is a dead cat, says Smoke Tuna. We had a question here from somebody who's joining us, I think, for the first time. KGL Bus just joined Benzinga Pro. Is this program a good one to join for newbies? What time do you start? Eastern time. So, we're here every morning. Ryan, what's exactly the time you come on here?
Yeah, show starts at 8 a.m. every day. We run through some news. Sometimes we have an interview or a guest like we did today, and we do every Tuesday. We're going to have Tim Melvin tomorrow. And then about 8 o'clock, shortly before, we bring 13 on. Then we talk about the movers that we identify using Benzinga Pro. And then when the market opens, we trade what we see using Benzinga Pro. I've got a scanner set up, unusual options set up. This is the screen that I'm sharing here. So yeah, we start at 8 a.m. Join us. This is absolutely a good place for you to start, especially if you're new. No dumb questions here.
And I would encourage that, if there's some webinars and some guides on how to use Pro and, how to trade some of these things. So definitely check those out if you're new to trading, because it really does help to be a little bit more informed when you come onto the show and you know what you're looking at that point.
Smoke Tuna saying the news segment needs to be posted live to Spotify. That is a great idea. That is a great idea.
What's the trade on GSIT? I'm pretty sure I'm just kind of G-sitting this one out.
I was going to say, aren't we waiting on a pullback there? I think Jay was talking about this maybe moving back to single digits in the next few sessions.
Yeah.
I don't see a long side trade here on GSIT.
Yeah, so I can provide some downside levels here because it looks like it's trying to, form a bit of a base, but this isn't one that I'm interested in, but I'll still tell you some levels that I see here. So one of the levels is going to certainly be $12. If you look at if the small enough time frame, you can see today's price action in the pre-market and also yesterday's. After we had this big move up from the price in yesterday's open, we kind of went sideways and we drifted lower. Well, that low that we ended up going to where we found support was $12, and that's where we're getting support today. So I think if we lose $12, that's going to be your signal that this thing is going to really start to come in even more. The next support area is going to be down around 8.
I wouldn't be surprised if 12 got retested here in short order, 13.
I wouldn't be surprised if we lose 12. I don't know if that's going to happen because the momentum is starting to swing the other direction. But everything else is telling me this probably isn't a great idea to try and trade this one. But it might work. I'm not going to try it.
I gotcha. Brian here saying Rich, excuse me, saying just check the PayPal app. Says the PayPal to Venmo payment is coming soon. My only follow-up question would be, are the balances shared or are they separate balances? I guess I can find that out. Right. Kevin says, who can I ask questions about Benzinga Pro? Kevin, I'm your guy for that. Let me go ahead and throw my email in here. In some cases, if you have just an easy question or a demonstration, I could probably take some time and do it here on the show, but you can always email me if you have questions on Pro.
Ryo J getting mentioned by Jane Smith, and certainly enough, we have a break above the VWAP.
Oh my goodness.
Now this might take us up to 680, where I think that there's going to be some resistance. That's one level to watch for. Another one would be just slightly above it, I think at about 725. Those are the next two resistance levels to the upside that I see. Of course, this thing did go all the way up to 824 in the pre-market. So not going to rule that out, but those levels that I just mentioned are the next two that I see where we could run into some sellers.
I'll tell you what, these moves up, it's all about the volume. Look at the volume chart in relation to how the stock is moving here.
Yep. All about that volume.
And this is what you want to be selling into, in my opinion. if you're taking this for a short-term trade. You're going to be selling into these value moves.
NVTS trying to establish some footing. MACD is starting to curl. Wondering if we might get a little bit of a recovery here. I think we'll know if this recaptures 1540. Otherwise, this is looking like it's trading into a descending triangle. And once we lose 1475, then we're coming in a lot more. Let me see where this next support area is beneath 1475. Just look at yesterday's price action, I think, or I'm sorry, the day before yesterday, Friday's price action. I think that's going to tell you where those levels are. Looks like 1470 could be one, 1450, 1435. There's a lot of levels that could get breached to the downside. Well done, Jane, on your trade. She just got out at 6.
Yeah, really good stuff there, Jane.
Fantastic. Enjoy the rest of your day. You earned it.
Dive Deep says I deserve a raise. I'm not sure what for, but okay. Sure.
I think you'll get
problem.
It. Bring that energy to your boss. I think you'll get it. CRM finally any levels?
CRM was breaking out. We looked at this one earlier.
Yeah. I thought we gave that already. I'll go again because this thing is still. Maybe you weren't here. It's
well,
okay.
We gave the trend line out. I think we also said that this 276 to 280 area was next, if I recall. I've got 270 up to 280. We didn't have any gap fill on this one. Yeah, I think it was the 270 to 280.
Yeah, 270 is the top end of my consolidation range. That's what I like next, and I think it's going to be more along the lines of 267 to 270. That seems to be the next area where I'm not exactly sure what the top's going to be, but it's somewhere in there. If we continue with that momentum, that takes us over 270. You have the 500-day SMA and the 200-day SMA that are just above it, and those values are going to be 273.54 for the 200-day SMA and 274.58 for the 500-day SMA. What's going on with NKLR?
Take a look at that.
Yeah, this is the one that recently did the merger with the SPAC, and it's likely just doing its de-SPACing. Like I was saying about this one, now this didn't have redemptions. We already went through that and looked at that, but this did have some pretty interesting lockup clauses to where if the price hits certain milestones, that the sellers that are holding those locked up shares, they can sell. And those milestones were $12, $14, $16, and $18. Well, guess what? We hit all those. Those shares can be sold, and that's going to put some downward pressure on the stock. And I think that's what you're seeing here.
Now, didn't we also 13 take a look at HOND when we were kind of looking at NKLR? So here's what your HOND daily chart looks like.
Yeah. So HOND. Now this might also just be going down because it's we're in the type of market that isn't really looking at speculative names or the high growth names. This is also another SPAC that's merging with a nuclear company. A molten salt nuclear is what I believe the type of energy that it's doing here. But they just approved the business combination. It's going to merge on the 28th. The ticker will be IMSR. Now, like I said, I haven't looked deep enough into this one to know what kind of any post-merger redemptions there are or what the lockup situation is. But that could be playing a factor into some of the downside you're seeing here. But also the whole nuclear theme is really coming in. So, you're seeing Oklo and SMR also come down. I'm sure CCJ is doing the same thing. And so are all the other SPAC names that are merging with nuclear companies. So NKLR, that's one of them. And so is HOND. So I think it's just the whole sector, the whole coming in of the sector. And
as you were mentioning there, it's going to be IMSR. That's India Mary Sierra Romeo. That's going to be on October 28th. And as Jay mentioning here, they approved this yesterday. We got news on that yesterday. Down 12% here today.
Yeah, and this does look like it's going to be going. It's just setting up to go lower. So
yeah, you want these to de-SPAC and bottom out.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the whole de-SPACing process could take these names down to like penny territory. And it could be down there for quite some time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just not sure. I think the time is now for either of those. Harvey was mentioning open here. We haven't taken a look at this in a little bit. Open here, decent move off of this pull back low. But when I look at the daily chart here, open's just kind of trading sideways. So here we go. This to me, without this gap being filled down to the low 6 handle, this to me, I feel like even with today's move here in open, this probably drifts lower a little bit, fills that gap. Then we'll see where it goes from here. I think the easy money was already made on open.
Take care, Kevin.
Take care, Kev.
And also, Jane, well done on your RioJ trade, because this thing absolutely knifed right back down through the VWAP. Great job on getting out at the right time. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, really. And this is one of the reasons why I was talking about this one earlier. We've seen this thing pop and drop. This is a nasty knife, nasty volume. Clearly got short-term traders in there. Jane, really good stuff. All right, 13. We're out of time here. You got any closing words for the group? I know we're both thankful that Amazon Web Services held it together today.
Glad to be back here with everybody. Glad to be, we're all had our internet connections be stable. Thank you, Amazon Web Services, for not shitting the bed today.
Yes.
Folks, you got Anne Marie coming up, right? That she's next. You're gonna have a great time with Anne Marie, right? Am I
Absolutely.
All right, you're gonna have Anne Marie next. Enjoy trading some options. I'll see you folks tomorrow. Take care, everybody. I'll see you later. Goodbye.
All right. And 13, just because we're having so much fun today, I'm going to post verse 1 of our new song,
Right.
Premium Girl, in the chat here. This is thanks to tip your hat to Amanda for coming up with this idea, and for the producer for running it through. Here are some of your lyrics to the Premium Girl song. We'll catch you tomorrow, 13. Have a good rest of your day. All right. All right, 13's departure leaves room for Anne Marie. Let's bring her on. Anne Marie, how you doing here today?
Pretty good. I like those. I like those lyrics, except I'm not really sure pearls are sharp.
Yeah, AI is probably hallucinating there. I'm sharp like a pearl, so it's not very sharp. So there we go. So AI hallucination. Amanda wants us to know I did not come up with this idea. That's right. I came up with this idea, Amanda, off of what you were saying. That's you're exactly right. Thank you for reminding me here.
Come on, let's all take the credit.
Yeah. Well, I suggested she get business cards that say Amanda Premium Girl on it. I don't know if that's going to material. We decided to turn this into a song. So I'll take the credit for that, Amanda. All right. Anyway, Anne-Marie, help us land this plane back to reality here. What do you got for us today? We do have a big slate of earnings. So here's your earnings calendar. Netflix really kind of kicks it off here today. I don't know, maybe we want to cover some of these, or maybe some for Wednesday.
That's up to you.
What you want to do.
True confession, I have been trading gold all morning, and it's been good to me, because gold, the futures contract, has absolutely been destroyed today. Liquidity margins got raised, continue to get raised, and then it's rough, and so my attention has been really sitting in that space. And so as we take a look at things, I am completely open to anything you might want to look at. And if not, if you don't have anything right on there, I have a few thoughts.
Well, okay. So first of all, I'm definitely interested in your thoughts, but I am also interested if you see anything here in gold and silver. We had a number of people earlier saying that the put trade on silver that you gave out recently is now paying with this pullback here. So is there anything that you want to do in terms of some of these metals, gold, silver, or otherwise?
So we could do something a little bit more. Let's take a look. First of all, the VXX was really rising, and then we had sort of a V-shaped bottom in the market, and now it's fading off into support, but I expect this one to continue to rise. The VXX is the tradable instrument. The VIX is just the measure of the move in case anybody wants to know. So that being said, let's take a look at gold. We can see that if we take a look at just the 30-minute chart, this one move today has wiped out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of motion. And I think it has more to go, although it's sitting in a little bit of a bounce. So I don't normally put these on, but you might have a pretty nice calendar spread here if you want to sell. If you want to sell
That's the technical term, by the way. That's our technical term.
Yeah. Okay, so we can, oh my word, 82,000 of them. Wow. Okay. We can sell the 385s. You know what? Let's sell the 390s. Just give it a little room to bounce because I do think it rotates, right? So we're going to sell the 390s in November, but we are going to buy the 390s in December. And so what do we hope to do here? Well, we hope to have it long into December. See how expensive this is. The vol is exploding here. So this is it's pretty expensive. The calendar spread involves no risk. I do have, get this, the vol is so gigantic. I had the December 370, 380, 390 call butterfly I put on for folks. I think we put it on at like $1.13, and the price action has fallen off a cliff, and the option, the butterfly, is still green. It's insane. The vol is like nothing I've ever seen in gold in the years that I've traded it. It's
so that butterfly is still green just because the implied volatility is lifting the premium across all three strikes. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty insane.
So that was a really good entry point then. If it's really come back in and it's still good, that was really good.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens here. I think it stays in this range for a little and then makes another drop, simply because it's got to do some mean reversion. There's just too much crazy stuff going on in there. So that being said, that's what I would stare down. The calendar spread, it doesn't feel sexy because it's a little bit expensive, but it should do the trick. You know, if you're also like me, you could also you could sell two of the Novembers, and that would end up giving you a credit, but it's going to use some risk. So let's see how much. If we turn this into, so if we turn this into some sort of ratio spread over time, it gives us a $500 credit, but it uses $7,500 of premium and margin requirement. So for some of us, that's not going to be ideal, but certainly for me, I really like that kind of trade. You know, you could always turn it into something that's a little bit less risky and buy a $3.95 on there. Whoops, I sold it. What a knucklehead. Right, and it ends up being $1.50. And so, it only uses $500 of risk. And it allows you to get that fade that I think is going to halt and then have some price action for a long call spread in the following month. So a little complex, but cheap in terms of what might be going on with gold. We've had a lot of movements. We had a lot of currency movements. We have bond movements, all kinds of things going on here. And we feel like there's something a little shaky here. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on it. Don't go in hog wild long anywhere, please, anyone. And anything that moves dramatically up, let's say Netflix comes out and they just blow the doors off things, right? Now, last time they had the big F1 stuff. They had, what did they report last earnings that was so good? They were trying to do the gaming thing. The F1 stuff had proved out to be very exciting. What have they put out in the last quarter or so that's made us go, huh, look at that.
I'm glad you asked, Anne Marie. They've put out K-pop Demon Hunters movie, which I had never heard of. Do you know what I'm talking about?
My granddaughter made me watch it. It's like one of the most famous. Listen, it's like number one. People are insane over this, and it's K-pop is that Korean pop band kind of genre. And it's just going hog wild, honestly. I'm like...
Amanda here says, my kids love that thing. It's an earworm.
Oh,
okay. I love that
totally
script.
agree.
I'm going to cut that earworm. I'm going to reuse that later today, Amanda. That's my goal.
For those of us familiar with the Wrath of Khan.
K-pop, listen to this. K-pop Demon Hunters is Netflix's most popular movie of all time by viewers and was a smash surprise hit in the quarter. The film had 325.1 million views and is ranked in the top 10 Netflix English language films for 17 weeks. What a monster that thing is.
Yeah. And I don't know. It might be witchcraft. I don't know.
in earworm. They also, by the way, the fifth and final season of Stranger Things is coming in the fourth quarter. When I talked about this earlier, I mentioned this last time. Here's my thing about the look ahead, Anne Marie. I have bought Netflix for 1 month of my entire life, and it was last December when they decided that they were going to play NFL games on. So I'm not going to miss that. You know me. So guess what's going to happen again this year? I'm going to buy it again. They've got 2 more NFL games on Christmas. So we have the most watched film of all time happened in the last quarter. Next quarter, we get Squid Game, the 3rd season of Squid Game, and Stranger Things, the final season, and they're going to have sports. Tell you what, from where I sit right now, the catbird seat, lol, this to me looks like this wants to go higher based on all of that. We'll see if that materializes, but really good outlook.
Let's position bullish.
Okay.
Right? And let's give it some time to wind up. So if we position bullish, let's position bullish in the December. Right? Or do we want to do January, since that'll be the month that No, we'll do December into just before the next earnings event.
Okay.
All right. And so let's do, let's see what our seasonality event says.
Boy, this says we're going higher too.
And it says 1340 to 1350 is the relative target. So let's try 1330.
Okay.
And let's build a butterfly. We want it to be wide enough to capture the gains and not so narrow that it blows us out of the trade, right? So 13, okay, it goes in 20-point increments.
Increments, you're right. So 1320.
So 1320. Let's see where they are. All right. 1360. And then 1380. Whoa, that's expensive. Oh,
you wouldn't want to make that 1400. That would be even on both sides.
Yeah. $3. That is not bad. I'm not gonna lie. $3 for 4,000. $300 for 4,000 to the upside. $150 of risk because you want it to go. You don't want to lose more than 50%. I like it. Now, my thought is the following. Let's say you wait until after earnings and you take the position. Maybe they wiggle. Maybe what's going on here in the broad market gives it a little bit of a jolt. You probably get it on the cheap because no matter what, you're going to have a vol crush after the earnings.
Okay.
So now it's not going to be a crush in December like it would be, a crush in this October one, right? Because the vol is 97. So you're going to see a vol crush. And so, if you're a crazy betting man and you're into that sort of thing, the put sellers, because the vol is pretty substantial, you could do, wow, it's not giving you much at all down there. Let's see where the fade could be. 1180 to 1145. Let's see. 1180. 1180 to 1177.50. That's a $2.50 spread, right? 75 cents. I mean, it's about a third, which not that bad, right? I normally look for a fifth of the range. And so having a third of the range is actually pretty good if you want to do that and just collect, because that thing will be worth literally nothing by Friday. If the stock does nothing, if it fades a little bit, if it bounces a lot, you're going to see an upshot. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take that on just to be. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Who else do we have? What else we got?
Here, I'm glad you're asking all the right questions here, Anne Marie. Here's what we got. So today after the close, we have Chubb, ticker CB, COF, Intuitive Surgical, Texas Instruments, Netflix, and EQT. I think those are our biggest ones today.
Okay.
We do have Western Alliance reporting today. I don't know if you want to mess around with any of that from recently.
What is their ticker?
WAL.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was Walgreens, but that's WHG. Yeah.
So. Actually, Walgreens, I believe, is WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance.
Oh, that's right.
I'm a Chicago kid, Anne Marie. I mean, I know everything there is to know about Walgreens.
Yeah.
That store has saved my life on numerous occasions.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at Intuitive Surgical. I am over the PTSD that I got from this chart many years ago.
Good.
It is actually responsible for my largest option loss ever. I traded it heavy into earnings, bullish on the side of bullish with short puts, and the stock dropped $100 a share. Yeah, it was. I'm not lying about the PTSD. Took me
Yeah,
years.
I am not disputing that at all. I rarely hear about big. It seems to me that you don't have very many big losses.
Yeah. Well, that one taught me.
So when I hear about your biggest, I'm taken aback.
Yeah, that one taught me a lot of lessons that gratefully I learned. So, what do we have here in ISRG? We talked about these guys are the ones who own the Da Vinci tool, and they have been on quite a fade lately, and they just tested April's low. That is like the low Liberation Day low action event. And so this looks like a recovery to me. Let's see what the spreads look like. I would not. Whoa, look at the vol. Oh, let's see if we can get something cheap down here. 428. 425. Yeah, not giving us too much. There's a fair bit of price action right there at 420. But if we go, all right, let's see where we can go. 485 to 500. All right, let's see what 500 gives us. 500. 505. That is not bad. An iron condor into earnings, 3 days to expiry, sitting very wide outside the pockets in my mind. They're pricing $37 into the move. And so if we look at that, pricing $37, it does put us at the 500 level. I mean, we could, if we wanted to be, we could go 505 to 510. Whoa, that's even better. 505 to 510 gives us even better move. Okay, that is an iron condor I would take any day of the week.
Okay.
Very nice into earnings. You don't have to hold it for a long period of time. And then after the earnings, maybe we can talk about this on Friday, because once ISRG starts moving, man, it can really move. And this volume candlestick from 443 to 530 is the range that it could potentially walk right through, especially into the fall where everything starts, running at a clip to the upside. So that looks pretty good to me.
Okay.
Post earnings, we'll choose something directional.
Okay, we'll check back in on Friday. So a couple of more things here real quick. We do have Lam Research and Tesla on Wednesday and IBM on Wednesday. So you have three pretty big reports Wednesday after hours as well.
What's Lam Research again?
LRCX.
LRCX. Oh, that's pretty sideways. Let's take a look at the vol. Momentum here, to me, that looks pretty bearish. Now, we could have the catalyst of earnings say something fantastic, and then it rockets to the north. If it rockets to the north, we've got about a $20 range, which would put it at 170-ish on the top edge if it went 1-to-1. And so that works from that perspective. If it fades, it's got that 20% range down also. And so that's about 12, maybe a little bit less. This momentum drift is interesting. All right. So if vol is pretty high, if you want to take something, they report on Wednesday, right? Wow. Got to take advantage of that somehow. No premium left in there. Yeah, no premium left there. All right, so let's do the quick strike trade and see if we can get, wow. Ooh, there's nobody there. We're going to have to go to November. No option. $18 is what they are pricing. I see $20 in the range. So if we do 120 to 115, and then a lot of people up at that 170 to 175 gives us about $1. My minimum for an iron condor is $1, so it's right on the edge of that range. As far as Lamb Research, we're pretty sure that these guys are going to move to the upside in general. The post-earnings trade might be, all right, let's see what the chart says. It's pretty sideways into, let me look at the weekly. That gives us the better read. 170 to 160. All right, so post-earnings trade, 170. Oops, no, we do 160, 170, 180, 75 cents. Also not bad in terms of that kind of motion. You could also try to buffer a little bit of the cost by, selling the 125, 120 spread. I give you credit. So, basically free for that call spread to the upside. And you're muted.
I'm muted. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Trying to keep the animal sounds from making noise there. Okay. And those use different strikes there. I like that. Okay. What else do we want to do? Got 4 minutes here. Do we want to take a look at another one real quick?
Let's just, everybody talks about Tesla. Why don't we just look at what Tesla's done over the last couple of days? Right? This one is calling for quite a fade into the new year, but a general incline with the rest of the market over time, looking at anywhere from 515 to 540.
Real quick, Anne-Marie. EKS is saying breaking: Netflix and Comcast are said to be interested in Warner Brothers Studios. So is that WBD, which also had a move here this morning on the acquisition interest?
Warner Brothers.
WBD would be the ticker.
All right.
I don't know if we're referring to the same thing. I think so. EKS, let me know. This popped today on possible strategic alternatives.
Interesting. Well, why don't we give that a look at that? That's got fabulous seasonality into March. So why don't we take a bet that gives us opportunity, slow roll, right? We just want to be chill on this and look at, whoa, That would be super cheap if that happened. I would say the 33 calls that are 70 cents into March. We've got 33 as the peak, anywhere from 33 to 26. So if we wanted to do a spread, how much would that be? 20.
No volume at those calls.
I know. You have to leave it in the queue.
You know what, though? I think the 25, you could probably get those 25s for 73 cents.
Oh, yeah.
The March
Absolutely.
25 calls.
Yep. You could see if you could get let's see what the 25-33 spread will, right? You could do 25-33 on the spread, or you could do the 25 calls outright at 73. Both of those look pretty good. You know me, I'm a serial seller. Option seller anonymous here. So that's certainly what I would look for. I think it's pretty fairly priced and a ton of volume rolling right in there today. Yeah. So that looks pretty good. And look at us with 10 seconds.
I was going to say, that was, you want to talk about pretty good. That timing was pretty good. Okay. Really good stuff here, Anne-Marie. I know we've got some big earnings tomorrow. We're going to check in on a couple of these on Friday. Thanks again. Thanks as always.
Pleasure. Take care.
All right. Have a good rest of your, I'll see you tonight, and have a good rest of your day. Folks, Paul Meeks is next with Tech Tune-Up. You don't have to do anything. I'm going to send you right over there. So just stay tuned. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Enjoy Paul.